Hi everyone. This is a very exhausted Norman Kochnak here with a mother transferring from hospital to a nursing home, and of course that means I'm a little bit late, so I apologise. But Mosen Sheikh, as always, is back from his travels and is here to help us out with this incredible test match that's about to start. That is between England and of course New Zealand. Welcome, Mosen.
Thanks, Norman. Well, good to be back.
Yeah, very good. I mean, we can share bits and pieces. You've been to Sri Lanka, haven't you? That must have
I
been
have been all over the place. And last leg of my trip was in Sri Lanka, and it was good to see tropical Sri Lanka after a long time. But sad to see the situation in Sri Lanka. There was hardly any tourists I saw. A lot of hotels and whatnot. I posted a few photos on my social media and whatnot. There were very few people that you could see out, and long queues at the petrol station. People actually parking their cars and whatnot overnight to get the fuel in the morning. So there's long queues. So it's a little bit sad to see that.
But at the same time, the so-called rich are still chugging along, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And their spirits are very high. Anyone you talk to, maybe a tuk-tuk driver or someone in hotel or someone, they're all upbeat about it. They reckon it's a 2-year cycle they need to get back up and running. So, the good thing is their spirits are high, and they're really looking forward to a revival of their economy.
It's interesting because I had to check for a friend of mine for some accommodation in Sri Lanka right now, and I've got great contacts, as you know. And the place where I would normally go, which is Havelock City, they are full.
Nice.
Full because of Sri Lankan expats coming back to Sri Lanka, seeing their family for the first time after COVID, etc., who are well healed enough not to worry about hiring a car that is getting, tuk-tuks or not, whatever. They're getting any transport they want. Yeah. And they're well healed enough to go and be there, or they're in expensive hotels where their generators are self-sufficient. They don't even notice that there's a problem out there. So it's a bizarre. The average Sri Lankan compared to those so-called elites, there's still that distinction. Don't worry. The people who want to get petrol are getting it.
That's true. Like, our flight, even on the way back, one of the flights from Colombo to Sri Lanka, Colombo to Melbourne, actually. So I got the flight from Colombo to Sydney. But there was another flight, Colombo to Melbourne, that had to stop over in Chennai to refuel because they didn't have enough fuel.
Right.
So
that was Sri Lankan Airlines, was it?
Sri Lankan Airlines, yeah. So
in Colombo, also to Sydney now, isn't there? On Sri Lankan Airlines.
Yeah. So they're doing 2 flights. So one to Sydney, one to Melbourne.
So I've actually posted a few videos on that have come up with the Australians arriving in Sri Lanka and also going to a gym there. I'm not sure. Do you know what hotel they're in?
No.
It's probably I've forgotten the name of it offhand. It'll come to me. There's a Taj Samudra probably where they are, or probably. Where did you stay when you were there?
Oh, I'll have a name for you. It was near the beach. That's all.
Was it Negumbo, or was it in the center of Colombo?
Center of Colombo.
Or was it Cinnamon Grand? No, it wasn't Cinnamon Grand. It was Gallface.
Gallface.
Yep, I know it very well.
Yeah, it's a nice place actually.
And no, it was a very nice place. So again, it's one of my favourite places. I wish I could go there. With a mother in a nursing home, I might have a bit of an opportunity to do so. Let's see. Yeah. All right, now so that's Australia versus Sri Lanka is happening. They're in an early stage of the T20 round, but this is a fair dinkum test match, which I'm looking forward to. I've invited David Graveney and Munchie and Chris Vernon and a few people there. They'll be here before too long, but Buckle Dada's asking, will Australia struggle against Aussies? Will Aussie struggle against Aussie spin? Well, they're not going to play each other. I don't think so. It's not going to be an issue. But anyway, I think that, look, Sri Lanka's going to be in some ways a bigger test than Pakistan for some reason, I'm thinking.
So I think so. I think they're the way they played against Bangladesh and couple of guys are in form, especially with Angie Matthews scoring a lot of runs, which is good to see that he's scored a couple of big hundreds.
Oh, yeah.
So I think Australia will find it not so easy in Test cricket. White ball cricket could be difficult, but for Test cricket, I think Australia is up for a little bit more challenge than what they saw in Pakistan, because the pitches are going to be a bit turner. It's been raining in Sri Lanka quite a bit, so it'd be interesting what kind of surface they dish out for this Test series. Even though for the 2020, even when I was reading an article from Cricket for the power generators in the ground, they don't have enough fuel, but they've managed to keep the white ball cricket as a daylight games, which is pretty good, because obviously the wider audience, the TV and all that, and it's especially in the daytime, it would be hot as well, as you
Just
know.
quickly, I just digress. Rasanjika Herat, who was a Sri Lankan player, is now playing. She's the captain of Bahrain, which is incredibly bizarre.
Amazing.
She's about to go to Malaysia on something. She's getting me to order goods for her.
Oh, nice.
She scored 161 runs in a T20.
Wow.
Of 60 balls.
Get her the sponsorship from Nine.
Sorry?
The brand that I have created, so we can talk offline about that. Get her the gear.
You want to send her some gear? Get her to get some gear. If you can get some gear to Malaysia in the next week, she'll use it.
We'll talk offline.
Okay, because she is 160. She's already played for Sri Lanka at the highest level. A brilliant left-arm batter. Scored 161 in a 20-over match. That's outrageous in a 20-over match.
That's amazing.
That's 8 runs. That's 8 runs and over.
Exactly.
Of one batter.
She's a Sanat Jaisuri of women cricket.
She is, honestly, she's an absolute sensation, to be honest with you. All right, let's just turn our mind to what the match is, which is in front of us between England and we're about to. Sorry?
Test cricket at its best. In England, what else?
And having, of course, the most amazing thing of Brendan McCullum coaching against his very first assignment for England is against his home country. That is mind-blowing.
It is amazing. The other thing is the return of the duo from England pace attack. Both Anderson and Broad are playing, which is really good to see. And Root back at number 4, and Johnny Bairstow back in the team. He's having a good run in Test cricket this year. Out of the
Ollie
4,
Pope is batting first drop. That's the most significant move of all,
I think
because he is an Ian Bell style batsman,
exactly.
And to me, they're giving him a massive opportunity to show his wares because he hasn't quite clicked lower down the order. No. So I'm assuming that this could be the make or break for him. Mind you, I was a Darwin Milan fan. I know Darwin Milan personally.
I like both him and Crawley. I think they've got good technique. They're good future. Crawley as well. So I'm David Milan's fan as well. He's got a good head on his shoulder, good technique. But the thing is, Johnny Bairstow making that number 6 spot of his own, I think that would be good. He's good middle order batter. He scored nearly 400 runs in 4 Test matches that he's played this year. So I think he's in a good form. And you know, Butler not taking his opportunities with the red ball, even though he's red hot in white ball form. But it's disappointing that Butler couldn't take the opportunity. But I think Bairstow is going for a long run. I think in that middle order spot.
Okay, so the question here is, to me, it's going to be very intriguing. First of all, Brendan McCullum coaching. He can't impact too quickly, but he will. Ben Stokes being captain as well. Having Rob Key as he's also a very forthright type of character and great success at county level, played for Test cricket. So effectively, they're going to have almost a breath of fresh air. But they've got Anderson Broad, who's going to show their mettle. This could be their last series, but it's at home, which is a great benefit to England. They're blooding a new bowler, aren't they, as well? What's his name? Mark, what's his name? Just trying to catch his name. It's already been selected, of course.
Yeah.
So Stokes tosses the coin. Williamson says tails, and it lands on tails. We're going to have a bat, he says. So Williamson's won the toss and elected to bat first.
That's
At Lords too, of course, too, which is an amazing gig.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
I've
Potts,
had the luxury. Yeah, sorry.
the new bowler, he's been presented his cap by Steve Harmison. So he's going to be a handful, I reckon.
Ajaz Patel, is he not? He's not on the 11, is he?
No. Didn't
I
see
mean,
him.
look, last time he played, he got what? How many wins? 11, 12, 13, 14, how many to get?
10 for in the innings, and then drop next game.
I'm sorry, I can't comprehend that. I cannot comprehend.
How can you take 10 wickets in the innings, like all 10 batters, and next test match you get dropped?
No, Ajaz Patel is he's playing.
He's playing.
For New Zealand.
The biggest drop would be the left arm quick for New Zealand, Trent Boult, not Pitt.
Okay, let's go through the sides then, just quickly. So the England batting lineup is, well, it hasn't changed its opening pair. Both Crawley and Lee's toured West Indies.
Yeah,
so there's some stability there.
I like Crawley. His technique is really good. Leach, I'm not sure. But I like the move of Ollie Pop coming in at number 3.
Yeah, it's to me. Well, he played in Australia a fair bit too. Actually, he played in Sydney. So we've got Zach Crawley, Alex Lees. I mean, I still think David Milan should have been there. Anyway, that's my thoughts. Yep. Oh, he didn't do anything wrong. He scored a couple of 80s. What was wrong with that? So then Root, Bairstow, Stokes, Folkes, Matthew Potts that we mentioned, Lees, Broad Anderson. That's not a bad side. Not a bad side at all. But let's look at the New Zealand side. Are we getting the New Zealand side? It's just bits and pieces going on here. Let's have a look what's going on. But let's look at the New Zealand side. Of course, my video goes up as a post. So what have we got here? What's the news? They're giving us a hodgepodge list of players. So Stokes, again, tosses the coin. Williams calls tails. He wins the toss, and he's won the toss and he's batting. So Ajaz Patel's playing. Yeah. Tim South.
Trent Boult.
Trent Boult's in the side. Cole Jamieson and Colin Grant make up the bowling attack.
I think that's a pretty decent bowling attack with one spinner.
Oh, bloody oath.
And handy bowling attack with they can seam the ball. It'd be interesting how the pitch is. I haven't had a pitch report.
Well, Lords truthfully takes it to spin. Takes it to spin.
I was going to say Lords is known for taking a little bit of spin even earlier in the season. And there was an interesting article when McCullum has caught up with Moeen Ali, and if you had a chance to read that, he's convincing him to take his red ball retirement back. So we could see Moeen Ali with whites on and bowling with the red ball. I think it would be good that if he comes back in the England side, especially with the Ashes next year. I think Moeen Ali could offer a bit more in England team for another 2 years, and fill in that spinning all-rounder spot. I think they're missing that. He can bat in lower order, and plus he's handy off spinner, good fielder. He's just been OEM recently on Queen's birthday. If you've seen that, so he's been rewarded. But I like to see him back in the red ball game in the red ball game.
The interesting thing for me is the only selection I can see which is of interest to me. They could have used a number of New Zealand bowlers. Matt Henry, for example, even Lockie Ferguson's not in the squad. He could be around there. But the one that I reckon should have been in there as well as Wagner, because
absolutely. He's had good success against Aussies.
Oh, I know exactly, and he's to me a fighter, and they probably need him in the side. And he actually eggs on the others pretty well. So I think they may have made a mistake. See, Cole Jamieson has been given a lot of credit, a lot of success, but of late in Test cricket he's waned.
Been successful. No,
he has. But I mean, then he can drop for Archibald well at Lords. Jamieson's height, maybe that'll suit the ground as well.
That's what they're probably doing to get a bit of extra bounce off the surface. And as you said previously, the surface has been a bit flat recently, even early in the season, and that might be Jamieson's take to go with the height and get a bit of spin.
I'll tell you what, he better get his act together because he's got people biting at his ankles there. Matt Henry, Lockie Ferguson, there's a few others on the side.
And the bowling quick too.
Yeah, oh yeah. Thurin V is starting. Did you see England Test cricket promo? As I certainly did. Brilliant. And I love the picture of Broad Anderson in the Lord's long room there. That's magnificent. I'm very lucky, Moses. I played at Lord's and the nursery ground. I've had multiple dinners there. I've been, because of the SCG11 connection, I've been very, very blessed in that place. I've had incredible amount of good experiences there. Been very privileged being with the Middlesex team when they played a ODI. It was just what do you don't call it an ODI, do you, when it's not international level? What do you call it? So one day match. So that was interesting. So this match is, I think, full of intrigue.
Yep.
It won't be a walkover for either side. England are there to prove a point.
Yes.
And my initial, some people have been saying to me, New Zealand win the first Test match and England win the rest. As we know, England have troubles winning at Lords for some reason, especially against Australia.
Yep.
But they're going to have, I think we're going to see Broad Anderson play out of his skin to prove a point, having not been selected for the tour to West Indies.
Yep.
Ben Stokes will be motivated as hell being captain. Ben Stokes is the best keeper in the country. McCullum will be there to prove a point. It's pretty motivated New Zealand side. And I'm just intrigued. The New Zealand...
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. I said, don't forget Joe Root. He's been in red hot form all year last year, and no one supported him with the bat. But now the monkey's off his back that he's not captaining. I think he'll go free again with the free mind. He continues his form. I think he'd be better off with no responsibility of captaincy on his shoulder. I think he will. I think he'll be a lot more freer and not holding that that.
Well, yeah, it should suit him. It should suit him, is what you're really saying. It should suit him.
Yep.
But I don't. But then let's take another step for a moment. It could turn the other way around too, because he's got the pressure. He might not be as motivated with his batting, if that makes any sense. He might be, that leadership that he wanted to show by the bat is not as dramatic. Okay, let's look at the sides. New Zealand side.
Yep.
Latham and Will Young. Will Young's got the opening spot. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Devon Conway's at 4, so he's taken on Ross
Taylor's spot.
Yeah, exactly. Ross Taylor's spot, that seems to be what they're trying to do here. Will Young and Conway have always been fighting for the opening spots, so this may be the answer. So we've got Latham, Will Young, Williamson, who's I'd say out of form. Conway in the T20, the IPL he was out of. Then Daryl Mitchell, who's pretty strong. Blundell, who can good keep a batsman.
Yep.
Colin de Grantham, I've got a lot of time for.
Yep.
Jamison, Southey, Patel, and Bolt. That's a pretty strong side too, isn't it?
I think Williamson's still struggling with his elbow as well, and his injury. They asked him that question before the Test match started. How's his injury holding for red ball cricket? And he said he was right. He's just right. So it'd be interesting to see how he comes back from that 2020 where he was struggling a little bit towards the end with the runs and with the injury. It'd be interesting how all of the Test match actually he holds up nicely with that.
So with New Zealand batting first, we're going to see, and Maramarani said it all. This is my statement for the day. Thank God, Test cricket. I agree totally. I mean,
oh no, we've been waiting too much of 2020 IPL.
I'll be honest with you. Oh no, I can't say this. I won't say this out loud. But the IPL was long, very long.
No question. It was long. And it felt long as well. Like it felt to me that there was time in the middle where you could feel that it's going for too long.
Yeah, and even the final was very anticlimactical, really. I mean,
pitch.
Yeah, but it was more that there was too much placed on Butler's batting, which was amazing all year, all season. But he fell down. It's like a balloon blew apart. There was no incentive to watch, but you knew who was going to win. There was no hope in hell that Arsenal was going to win it.
The other thing that I know I missed the show on the final. I was hoping that Rajasthan wins the toss and chase. They have not done that against the Gujarat. They batted first and they crumbled in both games. And if you see the history of that tournament, any teams that have played head on and they've lost both games and they've played in the final, they haven't won. So it has happened 5 times, and this was the 6th time, and it happened like both round games. Gujarat won, and they won chasing. And I was hoping that Rajasthan wins the toss and bat first, but obviously they decided to stay with their strength of setting up the target. And with Butler getting out, I think there was the air out of the balloon was gone.
Yeah, look, I'm such a huge Test fan. To watch even Bangladesh versus Sri Lanka, even though that drew me away. I need those. I'm sorry, Mosen. I'm sorry. The BBL, I could not watch a game and I wouldn't be the worst for it. It's something about. I know you can't comment. You're heavily involved with it. Something really on the nose. It's something
needs to have something happen. Something needs to happen. Whether the draft. I think Chris CA is still looking at overseas draft, not the domestic players, but the overseas players draft. I think you've got to do something. You've got to invite more overseas players. You've got to attract our Test cricket. Like, people want to see David Warner play. People want to see, all the Test cricketers play in their premium T20 competition, which they are not. And the year by year, the viewership is going down. The competitions. Strength is going down. Overseas players are not coming in with clashes with PSL and Bangladesh and Sri Lankan league. It's really they have.
We need to. Every country seems to think, "Oh, I better do the same thing." Sri Lanka should not go anywhere near it. They should just leave it alone.
Yeah.
Pakistan's done a good job. India's done a magnificent job. Bangladesh is so.
Yeah.
But if I'm being really honest with you, the IPL stands on its own. We need it. PSL has an incredible importance as well. The Caribbean, well, neither here nor there.
Dropping off.
The 100 is awful. Absolutely awful.
Why do you? I just couldn't understand. I was watching some of the games, T20 Blast. I saw Chris Lynn score 100 yesterday. But then after this white ball cricket, they're going to go with another white ball competition with 100. Why do you need these too many competitions? And then yet they're struggling in Test cricket. English team.
The 100 was a complete and unmitigated disaster. Let's drop it now before it gets too pathetic. Okay, it is Steve Smith's birthday. He's 33 years today. There's an irony to this. There's a real irony. Do you realise on his birth in Australia in 1989, I was on the Eiffel Tower meeting a German girl, which I had a 6-year relationship. That's why I know his birthday, because this was the day 33 years ago I met this girl. And so I'm not going to forget it in any hurry either. But I remember it for other reasons. I can let you know that. And Baram Marani, stop pushing me to answer the bastard's question. I can read it myself. We're going to talk. Okay, now there's a lot to be said. Look, I would personally, this is how dramatic I would be. I know it's a money thing. I would literally scrap the BBL unless they get their act together real quick. Okay? Copy the IPL. I don't care. But their situation's crap. It's too long. It's rubbish. Okay.
Yep. I agree.
100. Get rid of it. Now. It's too much. Rubbish. Let's get behind the IPL. Let's make IPL what it should be. Well, it's already the biggest thing ever. Let's embrace that. We've got to be right about it. Australia, stick to Test cricket. Stick to World Cups. Stick to the other tournaments where there's the WTC. Let's make those the premier events. Get the BBL. Almost annoys me during the summer. I'm sorry.
I mean, even either you play Test cricket or either you just have BBL on its own. A month and a half tournament, 6 weeks, like IPL.
Don't play it all over the place.
Don't play it all because it's in the morning you see Test cricket, in the evening you see BBL, and
that's stupid. That is saturation overload. No one can say from 10 a.m. in the morning till 10 p.m. at night. Are you kidding me?
No.
I couldn't be bothered if the Test cricket finishes, bang, the BBL starts. Oh my God, that's too much.
Especially if you have good teams touring. This year you got South Africa coming, so people wanted to watch Test cricket because and if India is coming in here, they want to watch Australia, India, Australia, South Africa, Australia, England, and then your Big Bash, your premium players are not playing, so you got to find a way to do Big Bash better.
So now, okay, he's saying that India loves white ball cricket, but it is too. I'm sure Indian fans are probably saying it was a touch too long. It's very, I mean, look, it's particularly hard for Australians because we've got to get up at a ridiculous hour every single night.
Time difference.
But that's not the reason for it, because it was good quality cricket. You and I know we'd watch Test cricket till whatever time in the morning if we had to, because I mean I'm used to I was brought up doing that. So all right, so New Zealand are batting first.
Yep.
They've got an interesting batting lineup now. Latham's proven, we know that he's not.
Yep.
He's not. Is he captain?
No.
No, of course, Williamson is. Yeah, but Latham did a pretty good job as captain as well. Latham and Young's got great potential.
Yeah.
Now he's in the side, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
Conway is the champion. He really is. We'll see how he goes. They're going to miss Ross Taylor, yes, but Conway's there to take that on.
But it'd be interesting coming in with the older ball compared to when he's opening. It'd be a different role that he plays. So it'd be interesting how he adjusts to this new role, batting in the middle. Because he's always opened, and him and Young been contesting the top spot. So it'd be interesting how he goes at number 4.
Yeah. Darren Mitchell's pretty steady. I like him. Tom Blundell he can open the batting. He scores centuries. He's got great talent. Colin de Grant, I love him to death. I think he's just got that swagger about him. Jamison's my question mark. Big question mark on Jamison. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. I would have had either Matt Henry or Wagner in the side, not Jamison. He's been a bit of a liability lately. He has not performed well against South Africa and other recent series. He's been fairly underwhelming. Ajaz Patel, well, he's not going to live up to his wicket taking in the previous match. There's no way. Bit of pressure on him, but a good
solid spinner. You need a solid spinner in your team. If you need one, I think he'd be good.
Brown wants to eat Panipuri. Why are we talking about that? You want to go to the East End of London, perhaps, to get that? Is that what you're telling me? There's one arrest of the T20s. That's an interesting saga. Is he rested, or is he rested really, or is it more? Maybe they're giving someone else to go just to see whether they're able.
But he's got this World Cup, 2020 Cup, and then I think he'll pull the pin on white ball cricket.
Okay. All right, but I'm more worried about the 2 goal tests, and that's going to be sensational. I think that's, to me, an exciting thing. The England side, again, David Milan's the one that I'm only... And let's see how Ollie Pope goes.
Yeah,
that's going to be interesting. So England's side are strong enough to give New Zealand a good shake, but I think New Zealand will win this because they're a bit more stable.
But remember, this same England batting lineup didn't do well in West Indies. So you remember this series in West Indies, same batting lineup. They stick with it, but in West Indies pitches, they didn't do well. So I'd like to see them actually make a bit of mark. They've stuck with the guns. They've given them opportunity to go again. I think they'll stick with this team for the summer. So I like to see Crawley do well. I like to see Ollie Pop do well, and I like to see Ben Stokes actually stamp some authority on the team as well.
Now,
Chris Wokes.
Steve Ayer is saying that why no Chris Wokes? I just don't think Chris Wokes has got enough in him. His batting's fallen away. His bowling's okay, but it's not outstanding. When you got Ben Stokes in the side
and bowling as well.
Yeah, Matthew Potts. I've got no idea about him. I don't know anything about him. He's obviously a seamer, which when you say seamer in England, that's pretty impressive. Mm-hmm. If you're a seamer, I mean, Sakib Mahmood is the bloke that I would have liked to have seen make this, but he's injured, isn't he? Overton's injured. There's a whole. I mean, Ollie Robinson's injured.
Archer's done for the season as well.
Mark Wood
is injured.
Right. Now, Debashis is talking about Odisha City Cutock in India, I'm guessing, and Baram, Debashis, would you listen to us? Would you, for God's sake, would you stop having your side conversations? How rude. I'm going to go on Debashis and Baram's TV show one day. I'm going to talk about whatever.
Conversation about the city.
No, I am disappointed that Chris Vernon and Richard Vernon's on here and Simon Wells and David Graveney, but they'll be here. Don't worry, they'll come. They'll come through the series when they want to. When they're available, that is. They're pretty keen to come on the show, so that's all right. So England don't have pace in the 21st. We need pace at about 140 clicks. Yeah, they need Wood. They need definitely Wood. He played well in Australia. But a good seamer a good steamer can often do damage even at 130 k's.
Yeah.
Pace is not the real issue there. So we've got about 8 minutes before we start this match. To me, New Zealand will start steady. Kane Williamson's under, I would argue, a teensy bit of pressure, even though he's been playing extremely well previously. He was out with his elbow injury. His team didn't do that well in his absence, but Latham did captain well. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he goes. He's batting at 3, isn't he? Yeah, he's batting at 3.
At 3.
Always.
The interesting that I would like to see from England's perspective is now that the change of coaches and whatnot in the dressing room. I'd like to see how what kind of brand of cricket they play. If they play McCullum's style of brand, which is aggressive cricket, and that would suit them actually in their backyard. They need to play that brand of cricket rather than the defensive form that they played last Ashes, which was awful. The Test cricket was very, very average when they played here in Australia last Ashes. So I'd like to see them play aggressive brand of cricket, what McCullum is known for. Interesting to see how Broad and Anderson start as well, because I think that's their last red ball cricket. This summer will be their last.
And I'm kind of glad for them, because it would have been a travesty for those blokes with such great records to not play at home in their final test. That doesn't mean, I don't think Ben Stokes has necessarily done that for that reason. But yeah, I mean, they're going to go hell for leather. Todd Murphy, Himanshu Rahela, we're talking about England versus New Zealand. Let's not talk about I'm Todd Murphy. We've got someone who's Alan Gardner, for God's sake. Alan Gardner has been limbering up and getting loose, unless I'm not sure. I won't go there. All right. So, this is a fair question. Is Josh Butler's Test career over? I still think he can bat at 7 and provide. Well, he has stumbled at Test level for too long. Ben Foakes is a far superior keeper.
Yeah.
And with Johnny Bairstow on the side, there's no reason to have a better keeper in there. I think Butler has proven to be an IPL champion and should stick to that form. He scores 120 overs, yet he can't score 30 in a Test match. It's intriguing.
He'll probably stay in the frame of white ball cricket rather than red ball for the little bit. He blew his chances in Ashes. If he would have scored a couple of hundreds here in Australia, he would have stayed. But Johnny Bairstow, last 4 innings, scored 398 runs with 200. So the guy is proving that he's your answer for middle order batting. Keepers Butler's gloves were not tidy as well. So in red ball cricket, so long-term concentration thing. Short format, he's been doing okay, and he wasn't keeping in Rajasthan Royals team anyway. So he hasn't been dealing with the gloves. He's just been batting really well with white ball. So I think he'll continue to be a white ball cricketer for England for a long time, and also the franchise cricket over IPL and other franchise as well. But it's unfortunate. I like the guy. I've had an opportunity to work with him in Sydney Thunder when we won the premiership as well. He's a fantastic bloke, but unfortunately, he blew his chances with red ball cricket.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I don't think you can. I don't think it's a complete loss, is it? Really? I mean, it's why is this not scrolling? It's supposed to scroll. Ticker. What's a ticker? Oh, there we go. Oh no, I've done wrong here. All right, all right, we'll just put that down there for a while. New Zealand's a bat in the first Test at Lords, New Zealand versus England. In case you didn't know, guys, quite a special moment, really. I think I might delete a few of these other ones to get myself back here. But so, to me, what's your thoughts on who's going to win this?
I got my I think I favour England a touch for the series, but for this particular Test match, I think New Zealand's got a little bit over England. The reason why I say that the English are known for a slow start at their home summer. So I think, and especially coming from West Indies, they didn't have a good series in West Indies either. So that for that particular reason, I think I favour New Zealand for this Test match. But overall, I think England will have the series.
All right. Let's have a look here. So now I can do a thing. Okay. So how many tests they're playing? They're playing 3, aren't they?
3, yeah.
And then England play more. Obviously, they got a test match against India,
yeah,
which is a carryover, and then they play against South Africa, I believe, after that.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got only a matter of 3 minutes to go. With this match is about to start. We will talk on a bit longer because we started a bit later. If that's okay. I just. What would you have done? Would you have batted first?
Knowing Lords, I would have probably batted first. But then again, I don't know how the weather has been recently. If there was any juice, I think New Zealand would have bowled. But because it looked like straight away the decision was, it looked like a dry surface. It looked like there hasn't been enough in the surface to go. So I think they'll go batting first, set up a good target. And then try and get a bit of consolidate a bit of a lead over England and use the spin off Ajaz Patel. I think that would be the plan to go.
Oh yeah, they're just showing. I just don't know if that's they're showing. As we can see, they can see the
anthems.
Look at Ollie Pope. Looks like Ian Bell, for God's sake. My God.
He like him, his stance is like him, he feels like him. He's a short leg player like Bell as well. All his mannerism about cricket is Bell like. So it's just, when I first saw him, it just looked like he was a twin for Ian Bell. And I used to like Ian Bell's style of cricket. He was a good cricketer, and I hope Pope does well and makes his name. Plays a lot of Test cricket.
And you got Harry Brooks. Look at that on the balcony. You've got McCullum with Paul Collingwood. That's a bizarre looking. It's just so bizarre.
For thoughts for Thorpe, he's in hospital, so he's been sick for the last couple of days, and he's Ian Thorpe. Sorry,
Graham Thorpe.
Graham Thorpe. He's been he's hospitalized.
He's not a part of he's not the coaching staff.
He's not part of coaching staff, no, but he's been So thoughts for him, and hopefully he recovers really well. So
it's pretty sad. Now, England, Harry Brooks, I should say, is there. Matthew, I don't know anything about Matthew Potts. Is getting his cap there. I can see they're all pretty happy about that as they're all getting ready to go on the field. Oh, Lords is just.
How good? I've been to Lords. How good is it?
I love it.
Just sitting in a balcony and it's just amazing.
The whole tradition and walking around the place.
Walking down the stairs from Long Room, and
I've spent a lot of time in the media, the JP Morgan Media Centre there a number of years. I think I told you I was stuck in a lift with Damien Martin and Michael Vaughan in the middle of a test match. I was on BBC. Vaughan and what's his name? Vaughan and who was the other guy? It was there was a show with Vaughan and the spin bowler Tufnells. Tufnells and Vaughan, or Vaughan and Tufnells show, and I went over there and I was on that. I've had a lot of great experiences. That was back in 2013 when that happened. All right, here we go. Latham, very experienced. Will Young, a lot of potential. Look at you're looking at Joe Root there, looking like he must feel a bit weird. Let's be honest.
I saw his 2020 game the other day. They were showing on Fox as well. So he was actually a happy camper sitting next to. You remember Darren Gough? He's and he was sitting next to him.
Alan Mullally's mate.
Yeah, exactly. So he was enjoying just being a player. I think my personal opinion is some people respond well once the responsibility is off. Some people don't, and we all know with Kohli he didn't respond really well once he's given up captaincy. He's struggling. But I think
Tom Latham's runs 4,502 test runs, 66 matches, a pretty good 12 centuries. Yeah, pretty handy.
Pretty solid for a New Zealand opener, especially playing in New Zealand with the juicy conditions. He's got a good record, and Young's record they showed he's pretty good. And look at Jimmy Anderson. 640 wickets at 26. how good is it? How good this guy has been for England for a long time.
I think he seriously wants to beat Shane Warne. I seriously think he may not be able to, but he'll go for
But
age 39.
39,
39, opening the
un-
bowling like a
unreal.
Roger Federer effort. Actually, that's the comparison I make.
True.
And he looks as fit as the fiddle.
Does
He
he does?
doesn't
Yeah,
doesn't look old at all.
that's right. And look at the first ball straight away, bit of swing.
Stuart Broad, he doesn't look old either, to be honest.
No. I think Broad is probably. I would probably stick with Anderson more than Broad because Anderson, I know skill wise, is unbelievable. With that darker Duke ball in his hand,
There we
running.
go.
There you go.
Oh, the first ball darts away. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that.
It was an in-swinger, effectively to most right-handers, but a very good outswinger to left-hand.
That's right. Yeah, and I see Rod Tucker umpiring. I had an
Yep.
opportunity to catch up with one of the Aussie favourite umpires
On the plane.
Yeah, exactly. I walked in and there he was. It was Bruce Oxenford. If you know, he's known as Ox. Played for Queensland, and yeah, I've had good memories with him. We had a good chat in our flight. So he was coming back from IPL, finishing that
So
elimination.
did he get on? He was that in Chennai? He picked him up, or what?
He did his last game was the eliminator, Rajasthan Royals versus the Titans.
Right, but he went. It was on Sri Lankan Airlines, though.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Okay.
So we were together from Colombo to Brisbane. Colombo to Sydney, and then he caught a flight to Coolangatta, and I caught a flight to Brisbane. So yeah.
Oh, I tell you what, Latham's not finding Anderson very easy. I
Doing
mean,
his-
Lord's just the whole the slant of the ground. Even though it's a pretty regulation size cricket field, you feel closer.
Yeah, true.
People feel much closer.
Absolutely.
It's an amazing venue. I just love it. I mean, especially up in the eye there, the JP Morgan Media Centre.
Media Centre.
I've had so many great experiences. I've had long chats with Jimmy Maxwell, Ian Chappell. I even had a chat with Richie Beno one year. I'll never forget that up there, and very accessible. And then people really mix very well. But whereas in Australia, it used to be Channel 9 and everybody else. You never used to get anywhere near, the Tony Greggs and the like back in the day. Always. Anderson, let's be honest, he does look. He looks good.
This 5 deliveries he's bowled, and he's brought one back into Latham, and then everything else he's swung away from him, which is showing that he's trying to get Latham driving, which is what Latham loves. He loves to drive through that cover area. He's trying to induce that cover drive from him, and if you look at the slip fielding, there's 3 slips, gully, point. So he's got the cordon. He's got 4 slips actually. He's got the cordon covered, and that's what he's trying to get Latham to do, drive early with that swinging ball. He's a master.
It's funny. The first 4 batters for England, for New Zealand, are short buggers. They're not very tall.
And what a masterclass he is. He's finished his over, and he's finished with really good plan. I hope that he continues to do well. So.
But that Duke ball, come on, that seems like a. There's no ball that seems as much as a Duke ball. And a Duke ball hurts you.
Exactly.
Kookaburra hurts too, but a Duke ball really hurts. It's got this heaviness about it. It just
And sometimes hard to see as well. A lot of players have said if it's overcast because of the darker lacquer on
very dark lacquer. Yeah, very dark.
It becomes harder to see. So
it's almost blood. It's almost blood red, isn't it? Really,
and if you see Lords over the times have changed with the side screen and steps and whatnot, and you see the side screens have covered a bit more area because obviously some players have noticed that it is harder to spot, especially the end that Broad is bowling.
He's 35. Broad's 35. He looks like a pup. He's taken 537 wickets. And how many did Anderson take? 640? 1,177 test wickets. But Jesus. Broad's taken 537. We forget that, don't we?
Yeah, I know.
537.
He just gets forgotten. So there's a first run. Young's off the mark. So he's just taking the single to mid wicket. The thing I was trying to make a point about the side screen and whatnot. The end that Jimmy Anderson bowled from. If you see the side screens, they're very small. They're old school side screens, and that's the end that the lot of batters find it hard to spot the ball because it's coming out of the crowd and the side screen is smaller. It's really a challenge when, especially if it's an overcast day and it's a darker and the bowlers tend to pick a darker Duke ball in England as well because it swings a lot. So more lacquer on the ball helps them swing the ball. So it is harder to pick as well.
If you're a leg side player, the end that Broad's bowling from now is, I'm just trying to recollect. It's actually, which way does the slope go? Does it go?
The other side.
It goes from east to west. Actually, I think it goes from east to west, which means it goes from the. If you're looking towards the pavilion, the main pavilion, it's to the left.
That's right. Yeah.
So effectively, this end will probably favour. I would have argued would favour Anderson more, actually.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Exactly. Yeah, but then that's why he's trying to bowl the ball away from left-hander, which is always going to help.
And
and
going down the slope. Down the slope. Broad. I can only ever think of the time that he got Clark, Smith, Warner, and a whole host of. He got 6 for 1 or something crazy. That was one of the most incredible bowling efforts I've ever seen. One of the most incredible bowling spells. Yeah. Underrated Broad. He really is. He's been in the shadow of Anderson a bit. But
if you look at 530 odd wicket, it's not job. He's a bowler. He's a bowler.
Haven't they? It looked like they popped up then. Jeez. Yeah.
A bit of cloud cover coming across.
Lords is notorious. Jesus, I love Lords. I was there for the World Cup final between England and New Zealand. That was just phenomenal. I was with Monty Panesar, actually. I was with, and 2 lovely sisters, Lena and Rena.
Nice.
They're both Indian-born girls, but living in England. Real characters.
Yeah, and that's what Latham's trying to do. He's trying to get on his front foot drive, and this one he tried to guide through the gully. So 3 slips and gully is standard field for Broad, trying to invite that cover drive that Latham is known for. And I think Jimmy Anderson has got better chance of bowling to Latham because he's got that natural outswinger to a left-hander or in-swinger to right-hander, and that will induce a good drive. And that's why he's got 4 slips to Latham. But then now that end of this over, it'll be interesting how Jimmy adjusts to a right-hander because I think Young will be on strike to James, and that's.
How much will Ben Stokes bowl himself is the question I want to know.
It would depend how the young quick come good. If he comes good, then I think Ben Stokes probably be good for 10, 12 overs for the innings. I think that's what he'd maximum bowl. He wouldn't bowl. You want to keep Stokes fresh as possible. Only bowl short spell, 10, 12 overs in an innings is probably enough.
See, Rashid Khan, if he comes back and Moeen Ali comes back, Jack Leach is in big trouble. I'm sorry. He's not going to have much of a chance of they get in the form. Oh, that was a good ball.
That was, yeah.
Ben Stokes is by far and away the best keeper in England, by far and away. And I'm glad Ben Stokes in there as a batter because he's always been good. He's played 80 or more tests. He certainly deserves to be there on his batting form alone. I don't know much about Lees. He didn't do that well in England, in the West Indies. And they're showing the cap delivery to this is Harmison giving his cap to Potts.
Again, it'd be interesting to see how Potts respond to the test call up because it's a big occasion for him as well, playing at Lord's first test of the summer, and he's been trusted. And there's a nick, and he is out.
Richard Vernon's just mentioned something about he must get a better as the catch is about to take place.
He's out. He's induced as I was saying, how he adjusts to the slip cordon. He's just nicked 1 to 3rd slip, and he's taken the first wicket of the test match. So replay shows
what a catch, what a delivery!
Excellent delivery.
Jimmy Anderson, 641.
Yeah, a really good catch, one-hander.
Bairstow, as you
John,
would expect.
and that's a keeper's catch. You can tell that's a keeper in Bairstow.
Yeah,
But
very low, extremely low.
yeah, so again, Jimmy Anderson showing his class. He set the batsman up. Obviously, Young would have seen the last over from non-striker's end. He would have seen the ball swinging away from left-hander. He was expecting the ball to come into him, but this one held the shape, swung away.
That was some catch.
And
that was some catch.
That was some catch. So, unfortunately, Young's start of the English summer has not been good.
Yeah, but look, it happens. It happens.
And that moment of truth. Williamson against the swinging ball, Anderson and Broad.
I'm going to predict that Williamson won't last long.
No,
I reckon he's not going to last long. And then, but he's not going to last long. They're still going to win the match because Collingwood Grandhome is going to get 124. That's my. Everyone's asking why Warner's not. Ash Kumbodge is asking why is Warner not in the squad. Well, he's being so-called rested. I don't know what that. Yeah, but what rested from what? Rested from what?
I think they want to give opportunities to the other youngsters for T20 post the World Cup. I don't mind that.
Well, but then okay, you're getting paid the big bucks, right, to play for the IPL. Then cop it sweet and play a lot of cricket then.
Yeah, okay? I know you've got a point. You have a point, but I think they're looking beyond T20 Cup, and I think the opportunities that they gave a couple of batters in Pakistan as well. If you look at the one-day cricket and T20 cricket, I think they want to continue with that sort of trend. I know it's close to World Cup as well. There's not much cricket past that, but
has Williamson scored a century at Lords before?
I think he has.
Well, he scored 7,272 runs, 87 Test matches, Devil's number, 2,433, batting average 53.42, 47. Great performance.
Phenomenal record. 4 slips in a gully. How good is that?
And he's facing Anderson, who's hot to trot. I am predicting not a duck, but a low score.
Low score, and I think Anderson will have him because
Anderson will lead him up.
Young's technique they were showing from the other side. He pushed at the ball. That ball is swinging away from him. His bat was coming from gully, and he
nowhere near his pads.
Nowhere near his pads. He was not tight enough in his defense. Chased the one that was swinging away. Not a good way to.
That was a useless shot. It was nothing on.
No,
there was nothing on.
No. So 1 in and 1 out to Williamson. So he's setting him up.
But that was a great catch. Jeez.
Look at the travel time. Yeah. So Anderson again showing his class. There's no better bowler in English cricket than Jimmy Anderson at the moment.
Well, but I can never forget when Anderson first played for England against Australia in particular, and it was against Langer and Hayden. And Langer and Hayden, in particular, Langer absolutely tore him to shreds. And I actually thought this is a pretty ordinary bowler here. He's not going to go very far. No. I was obviously wrong, but he did get smacked by Langer in that. It's almost like, do you have to get spanked in your first match? Maybe you do.
Probably. But that young Anderson with blonde hair, in his early days, he got a hat trick as well. And, he was
far too full, and it was in Australia. He was money for jam. There was no swing.
No.
That ball was a great catch. Oh, my God, that was a great catch. It was very difficult.
Yeah.
In fact, it really wasn't his catch because it wouldn't have been anyone's catch, actually.
His left. But he wouldn't have carried to other slip because it would have died.
No, it wouldn't have carried, but that was the right person to go for it, though.
True,
not Bairstow, actually.
No. But yeah, I've liked Anderson for some reason. I always liked his ability to swing the ball both ways. He's not quick, but he used to be 140 plus. And the thing is that he can seam the ball, he can swing the ball both ways. It's still at 39, he's swinging it both ways. He's bowled some outswingers to Williamson, then set one up with the in dipper, and then last one he bowled another outswinger. So he's always skilled. I liked him. His attitude is good. He's never whinging like Broad normally
Oh,
does.
what happened there? Jeez, they almost bowled him. Jesus.
Yeah, exactly. So Broad, if you on the other hand, you see he always comes out in the media whinging when he's dropped and whatnot. Whereas Anderson has never been in that kind of attitude that he whinges about him being dropped or him not getting wickets. And
Well, there was a bit of. He was pretty vocal about being dropped. Don't worry,
yeah,
don't worry.
towards the end, you give him. The guy's played nearly 20 years for England, so you give him that. But Anderson's been, but Broad has been fiery. So Anderson I've always liked.
Look, if there's no way that England would be right in not having Anderson Broad play at home in what will be probably their last series. There's not. Well, these guys won't play for another 3 years, but they needed to give them a chance. You couldn't drop them and see them never come back.
No,
that would have been the worst possible.
Guys that tried in West Indies, they would have set the world on fire.
So Robert Emma here has been talking about Brendan McCullum and the fact that there's a soft spot for him, and really I think it's a bit early for him to have an impact on England's side. It's far too early.
Too early, far too early. First season, you get to know your players. You start setting your own tone. You start setting your brand of cricket. It's.
Harry Brook's going to get a Guernsey, don't worry. David Graven, he spoke about it on a show that I had the other week, heavily about him, and he'll be in there. And apparently Harry Brook looks like a long-term opening sensation.
Yeah.
And he's very young. I think he's still teenage years.
Yeah.
He's still way away from it. But he's in the squad. He's biting at their ankles now.
Yeah, I like to see him open the batting instead of Lees, but obviously they're stuck with him. This is his 4th Test match.
Richard Vernon, who's not officially a part of the program, is making Facebook comments about. He said that James Anderson articulates very well and his grievances, blah blah blah. Well, then Richard Vernon, come on the show, or are you two? What are you doing? Are you driving or something? Don't make comments on my Facebook Messenger page, which pops in front of my screen when I'm watching Foxtel. How dare you, Anderson? Come on the show. You've got the link. Come on the show. All right. So Williamson survives that over without getting a run.
Yeah. But
Harry Brook's on the field.
Yeah, Anderson's off. Anderson's he's having a drink at the fine leg, so he must be changing shoes or something.
But what's the story? He's actually sitting down. What's the story? He may have gone for a wee. Who knows? But what's the story? If you, how long are you off for before you can't bowl? Can he bowl the next over? What's the story?
Just an over. It's just 6 balls. He can be off.
All right. Broad's bloody tall. I'll tell you, Broad is very tall.
Yeah.
We forget about the fact that his father, Chris Broad, opened the batting for England.
Exactly right. Exactly, and he's a match referee now.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think how many Test players had their father play Test cricket. How many are there? I mean, Broad's clearly one.
Yeah, I know Mudassir Nazar. I worked with him. His father, Nazar Mohammed, he played.
Yeah.
Both carried the bat for Pakistan. Then you got Hanif Mohammed, and then his son Shoaib Mohammed. Both played.
Okay, I've got a few Pakistanis. Yeah.
A few Pakistanis. Abdul Qadir, his son.
Usman Qadir, well, he has.
Yeah.
He hasn't played a Test match though.
No, he hasn't played Test. He's played white ball. Yeah.
No.
Deepak Patel, his son played. New Zealand off spinner. You remember?
Right. Yep.
Bowling in 92.
There aren't many.
Not many. You can probably count them on a.
Well, there were no Australians that have done it. I mean, Victor Richardson and the Chappells, they came as grandchildren, but they were not the main children.
No, they haven't.
Sachin Tendulkar would like his son to play, but he won't be.
No, he won't be.
Arjuna's son won't. He was too fat.
Sunil Gavaskar's son played. I think he played only a couple of times.
Who?
Sunil Gavaskar.
Cowdrey, Richard Verner's watching. Cowdrey, Chris Cowdrey, Colin Cowdrey. Yeah. Richard Verner, stop making Facebook Messenger comments and come on the show.
There'd be a lot of
Chris Verner didn't play for England, nor did his father. That's for sure.
There'd be English.
There we are. There's Fry. There's what's his name? Stephen Fry. He's the new MCC chairman.
Yep.
I actually know that guy with the hat with the grey beard and the Malibu jacket. I know him.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I came across him. I mean, I wore the SCG11 jacket, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I
So
know.
that's not Jeff Thompson on the screen. Looks like it could be. Jeff's pretty grey these days.
See, Latham's already complaining about side screen because there's crowd, balls coming out of crowd, and it's hard to spot the ball. And if someone just stands up in front of that side screen, it's very hard. And
Yeah.
Anderson bringing the ball both ways, and I wouldn't blame Latham. I would be struggling as well.
Himanshu Hurrell, can you stop asking about Australia try Josh and his openings? We're talking about England versus New Zealand tonight. There's no mention about Sri Lanka and Australia. We'll leave that to another night. Please. Ask questions about this match. This is important because don't forget, India are playing them. Buckle Data says the Vernons appear when England are on top and disappear otherwise. Ooh. Buckle Data's having a good dig at Richard Vernon there. Ooh. The Vernons appear when England are on top and disappear otherwise.
There's a second wicket. And Anderson again is taking Latham. And guess who caught the ball?
Who?
Johnny Bairstow.
There you go. Actually, did Bairstow's father play for England?
Probably. I don't know. But look at the.
I think he did. Richard Vernon confirmed. Did you think I'm from England? I'm not from England. Now, what's happened here? Ben Stokes is getting excited. It was just a replay of the catch, wasn't it? Yeah. Oh no, Latham was gone.
Latham was again. I said to you in last over, he set him up really well, and this was back of the length. Latham punches at it, edges the third slip where Bairstow pops it because it was coming hard. He pops it, and then he one-handed dive to take the catch. So New Zealand in a bit of trouble, 2 for 2.
They've lost both their openers.
Exactly. So now the actual opener is walking out, which I thought he should have.
Yeah, Devon Conway. Yep.
He's a good bat, solid cricketer.
He is a good bat.
Yeah.
Look, Anderson, 2 wickets.
How about
642 now. Jesus.
Exactly. And
he's third, isn't he? Because Morley's first, we know that 800. Then Warren 708, I think it is. Then Anderson.
Anderson's third. He could get
642.
He could get past Warney in 2 summers, but he needs
if he was to play.
If he was to play, but he's the top in fast bowlers, and I think it's hard for a quick to get 700 wickets.
So, Devon Conway, who's actually a South African, is he not?
Yes.
It's very confusing.
Did not get a run in that.
I mean, if South Africa were to keep all their bloody players, they'd have a pretty good side, wouldn't they? They'd have a truckload of them.
Exactly.
It's just ridiculous.
It is. How many of them? Well, if they would have kept the Kiwi, that's happening the England team. That's a Kiwi.
Have a look at Conway's. He scored 300s and 350s in 8 Test matches. Jesus.
And double hundred is.
Yeah, pretty bloody impressive.
Very impressive.
Should have been a regulation catch actually.
Yeah, but
he almost muffed it.
Traveling, it nearly hits his chest. It was that far.
But that's a true keeper. Doesn't panic. He knows what he's doing.
True, and good for him. And you know when you're going well with your bat, half of your chances, in other times he would have dropped that catch and would have been soaking all day. But because he's going well, he's in a happy spot. He took the catch in a reflection.
There's a fundamental flaw. There's a fundamental flaw that the way that we catch in cricket. Now you may not agree with me, but Rebecca Van Dort, the keeper, who always Reg Verner's joined us. Is that because England are going slightly well that he's decided to come on it? He waited. How are you, Mr. Banstead boy?
Hi everyone. Sorry, Norman. It's not always easy to come on when I'm working and things, but you rather enticed me with your very rude comments.
Oh, it worked. It worked. See, it worked. It worked. Now, look, just make a clear point here. Anderson's just showing his ability. It's amazing, and,
Yeah.
and it's quite outstanding, really.
Yeah, he's well, he's quality. He's one of the best in the world still, isn't he?
Absolutely.
Bairstow's having a good start here, which Johnny Bairstow's a confidence cricketer. If he's confident, that's a good thing for his batting.
Did his dad play for England?
I think he played 4 tests for England.
So there you go, another father-son
Yeah,
combination.
that's it.
Yeah, back in the 90s, I think, but you'd have to look that up. So and let me hold my phone like that. That's better. I can look at the camera. I've got a quicker feed on than you because I'm watching it live on the telly here.
So you'll know things before we do because we're getting a delayed.
Yeah.
Just quickly, Mosen, have you met Mr. Vernon at Reggie?
No,
You guys met?
No, we haven't.
Hi,
Reg.
Mosen. I'm an
Mosen,
extremely poor cricketer, so unlike yourself, and well, me and Norman are about the same level of terribleness at
beg
cricket.
your pardon. Don't put me. I'm a champion in my own lifetime. Thank you very much.
Certainly legend in your own video.
I took a fantastic gully catch at Duke and Norfolk's 11 at Arundel Castle there. Don't worry, I'm a champ. All right.
Yeah.
I was just saying something earlier, which before you came in, Reg.
Mm.
I was talking about catching. We fundamentally are flawed in cricket the way we catch a ball. Baseball is the way we should catch. Forgetting gloves, Rebecca Van Dort, who played for Sri Lanka as a wicketkeeper, taught me that she never catches balls with 2 hands, even with keeper's glove. She catches it with 1 hand.
Yeah,
Now,
they do.
we make the mistake. We're clumsily trying to catch a ball like that because it's safer. But we should naturally be catching a ball with 1 hand. Our hands are gripped in a way to catch a ball like that. But if you're doing this, it's an abnormal way to do. It's almost like a flipper effect.
Well, what you should do, hold on, I'm going to have to put the phone down here. You're supposed to interlace your fingers. Can you, like this, you teach kids to catch. So your hand is almost forming like a baseball mitt. So
but that's not necessary. That
But-
actually complicates issues. It's complicating issues. Hence what happened to Bairstow there. He didn't know whether to go like that or this. He was confused. There was 1 hand he would come in and take with his better hand. I disagree. I think we are fundamentally flawed the way we catch balls in cricket. Fundamentally flawed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you got small hands, of course.
Well, there's someone's injured. Just trying to chase the ball. I think it is Lees.
Lees,
Yeah, I think he was. Trying
Lees and Leach look the same. Is that Leach or Lees?
I think it's Leach.
Well, no loss. They've got Noah Ali and Rashid Khan on the wings. They'll both come on.
Yeah, I think he's just injured his neck as he was landing.
The nonsense of all this is that you never used to see back in when I was playing fielders particularly do that. I mean, it's a brilliant bit of fielding. I think he stops the boundary, but he's hurt himself badly. And if you're going to dive around like that, imagine me and Norman diving in the outfield like that.
No chance.
I mean, no chance is the exact right.
No chance.
I mean, the truth is, if you watch any replay of a 1970s Test match at Lords or Edgbaston, when he gets that close, the guy goes, "Oh, bad luck is full." He gives up. Even the best fieldsman did that. Nobody really went for that. Bugger. What's the point? What's the point? That's right. Why get injured over stopping 1 run? It's not. It's 1 run.
Sometimes, often on the boundary runners down at third man, fine leg of the bowlers. The last thing you want to see Jimmy or Stuart doing is diving around.
I don't think Jimmy will do it at 39.
Now, the comments are flowing here about, I don't have to say a word. It was all written down here. Was there many comments about the Vernons? Sounds like the some sort of Adams family discussion here. Or is it, I've lost it now, but there was many comments. The Vernons only come when you're winning.
Well, absolutely right. You don't want to hear me talk about it when England are losing, do you? I mean,
we do. We actually do. Well, it's most enjoyable to me to listen to you when your team is losing.
Yeah.
Good to see.
A lot of tributes to Shane Warne there in the background, remembering Shane Warne.
Talking about Shane Warne, his remembrance, and I think they named one of the rooms in Shane Warne's memory, one of the commentary rooms.
Yeah, they have, and they did the Sky in UK are dedicating this test to Shane Warne in his memory.
Fantastic.
So it's going to be tributes all the way through. There's a lot of he had a lot of friends in this country, Norman, as he had all around the world. And
Especially Liz Hurley, she was kind
Regular
of
Sky commentator as well. So I think
Yeah.
he's definitely made an impact everywhere he's touched the cricket field, or not. So good.
well,
tribute.
most had a lot to do with Shane Warne back in the very first IPL in 2008 with the Rajasthan Royals.
Mm.
Most was a part of that group, weren't you?
That's right. Yeah, I've had fortunate enough to work with him during that IPL. So yeah, good memories with Shane Warne.
Did you play poker with him?
We actually saw playing. We went to his room one day and he was playing poker. And we were watching, and he used to love people praising him when he was, even talking about his cricket or talking about his other off-field activities or poker or whatever. We had a quite young team in that 2008 time, and he would just take everyone under his wing. Whether we were all sitting by the pool and him telling his stories about cricket and other events and whatnot, and young cricketers like Jadeja and whatnot would be intrigued to listen to what Warnie was telling. So it was a fantastic experience.
Harry Brooks, the substitute fielder now, he's the gun
Yeah,
opening bat. David Graving was telling us. So
poor guys.
you know about him?
Poor guy saved one run and he's off field.
He bats 4 or 5 for Yorkshire, Norman. He doesn't open. He's a middle order bat.
Is he? I thought he was an opener.
No, he's not. No, he bats down at 4 or 5.
Okay.
He is not the leading run scorer in the country this year. That goes to Ben Compton, who would have.
He's doing well as well.
Who? Sorry.
Shan Masood. He's
a quality player. But if the New Zealand game, the warm-up game against the County Select 11 had been deemed as a first-class game, which it wasn't, but if it had, Ben Compton would have been the first player to score 1,000 runs before the end of May, since, I think I'm right, Graham Hick in 1984
that's right.
was the last one to do it. So Ben Compton, who's come out of basically nowhere, he's the cousin of Nick Compton.
Right, who played for England, of course.
And his dad, Dennis Compton, whoever, his grandfather, famous England cricketer, or great grandfather, whatever it may be. There's definitely a lineage there. So he was a bit unfortunate there because he would have scored 1,000 runs.
So who's on the balcony? I just saw a minute ago with Brendan McCullum. Is that the bowling coach I saw next week?
I'll have to rewind it. Who have we got? I don't know who the bowling coach is, Norman, at the moment.
It's the guy that found Jofra Archer. It's not Andy Caddick. He looked a bit like Andy Caddick, but it's not.
That'd be a great New Zealand connection.
There again, he's on the balcony right now by himself with glasses.
I don't know who it is, I'm afraid.
Okay.
Okay.
So, Archer Rahela, why would you mention New Zealand are none for 74 against the West Indies? I suppose the very fact that they're none for 74 is a bit of a shock, but yeah. All right. New Zealand should target at least 250 if they score 2, if they can put pressure on England. Absolutely. They certainly can at Lords.
It won't be enough. The scores at Lords this year have been very high. All across county cricket have been high. I think the average scoring in all innings at Lords this year has been 304. That's across all 4 innings, the average scoring.
But that's not Test cricket, though. Why is that relevant when it's not Test cricket?
Yeah, I think that's why New Zealand chose to bat first, because Lords have been playing quite.
It's
nicely.
absolutely relevant because it goes to the ground, the general ground and pitch conditions and the balls this year.
All right.
They're saying that this batch of Duke's balls aren't quite doing as much as before. The weather's been very dry. You can usually tell what the weather's like in the UK at the start of the season by looking at the county championship scores. And if sides are all out for 120, 130, usually means it's grey, overcast, a bit wet, and the bowlers are doing all sorts. Whereas this year, there's been 500s, 600s being scored regularly.
Even Chris Burns scored 84 at Arundel Castle, didn't he?
Yeah, against the New Zealand London 11 on Sunday. It's a beautiful venue. Chris batted pretty well, but he has good times and bad times.
That's my favourite ground. I mean, I took a great catch there at Gully, which I was told last time.
So you keep telling us, Norman. In fact, it's a fantastically flat outfield, beautifully manicured, apart from one big dip in it, just off the
Beg your
square.
pardon. I was like a gazelle. I was kind of like left hand,
How are you spelling gazelle, Norman?
a fat gazelle. All right. We didn't say what type of gazelle. I just said a gazelle. Gazelle can be any shape and size, but if you feed a gazelle too much, it gets fat. Right? Any more comments? Thank you, Ross. James Anderson's bowling is more important than my fat gut, please. Joe Root was Ben Folks threw the ball to second slip, and Joe Root was almost left out. It was like he's no longer captain. We're not throwing you.
Chris is going to Lords tomorrow, I think, Norman. You might be able to get him to, if you talk to him nice, you might do your quick live feed or something.
Well, I'm asking him. He must be with a new girlfriend or three. He never seems to be.
He's been busy. He's been doing a lot of coaching, as you know. He's
Yeah, but we thought, another edge. There was an edge from Williamson's back there, wasn't there?
Yeah, he just found a little bit. To be fair, Williamson played it brilliantly well. He took his hands almost. He loosened his grip on the bat, so it didn't carry.
Yeah, soft hand, soft. Again, he played
It's a typical Williamson shot, though, isn't it? He's soft on the ball.
That's a similar sort of stroke that he enticed against Young. Young did exactly the same thing, but he went with hard hands that carried, whereas Williamson just soft hands, dropped the hands on the ball and just didn't carry to first slip. So it's a little bit subtleness about Williamson, and that's why I think Williamson, if last this new ball, I think he will score big.
Yeah, I mean, he's been in no form at all. He had a terrible IPL. He had the elbow injury, and he got a 0 in the warm-up game. Got nicked off second ball,
he was back for the IPL, though, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he got no runs in the IPL at all. He had his strike rate in the IPL was under 100.
Yeah,
but his bank balance is well over 100 million.
And elbow injury is the main concern. But if he survives, I think it's a matter of surviving that new ball burst against Anderson Broad. I think he'll go all right. How's this?
What about Matthew Potts? Tell us about Potts.
How's this young lad?
I can tell you a little bit about Matthew Potts. I was just going to say quickly on the IPL, Norman, and you heard it here first. I did tell you about Liam Livingstone, that he was a serious cricketer, and he can hit a bloody. Did you see the 170 to 6?
Why couldn't he be considered to be the new? I'm not going to say both of them, but couldn't he? I mean,
and we got another one. We've got another one. Broadie's into the act.
Number 3. That's terrible.
I think that's got to Bairstow as well, possibly.
Yeah.
That's Conway.
Out of all, Conway was looking.
So much for your big score on this pitch, Reg. Far from
No, that was we were talking about why they were batting first.
Oh, all the county matches, blah 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 blah. They're 3 for 7.
Yeah, well, they're bowling well. As you know, Norman, if you get through, you've got to get through the first hour in any Test match anywhere in the world.
Of course.
Or it's never changed. And
I just don't want to run for the first hour, then I'm fine.
But also, you've got to understand that you've got Broad and Anderson who've just been left out, who have got something to prove, and they're both coming in. Jimmy Anderson played about 4 county championship games in a row for Lancashire. Missed the first one. I think he played the next 4. So he's not saying I'm 39 years old, nearly 40 this summer, and I'm taking it easy. He's got himself absolutely match fit, Jimmy. And I'll tell you now, I'm guaranteeing you he's targeting the Aussies next summer for his swan song here.
I started playing for the SC. Hang on a minute. I started playing for the SCG 11 when I was in my 40s. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, and I've played the most matches. So age is irrelevant.
I cannot believe you're equating your cricket to Jimmy Anderson. I cannot believe it.
Next thing he's going to compare himself with Johnny.
We're talking about age here, not about anything else. Not talent and ability, age. I started playing cricket for this in my 40s, so there.
I retired when I was in my 40s.
I had a renaissance then. Daryl Mitchell didn't expect to be coming out at 3 for 7 after 7 overs, I'm sure.
No, it's just going to be tough for him. Very, very tough. That's 3 in a row. That's got to be I tell you what, I bet there's not many first 3 wickets of a Test innings been taken caught by the same guy.
Exactly.
No, in the same spot.
200
Yeah.
catches for Ben.
Very-
200 catches for him, along
Yeah.
with 11 something. So 201 catches for him now.
Nice
So-
nice catch too, boys. By the way, that's he made
That's
that look very
brilliant.
straightforward. I know it's a slip catcher, that's where you want it.
Yeah.
Nice straight too, but it made it look very straight. Broadie's up for it.
Sorry, Norman. I've got to run.
Oh, just quickly for Reg's point, but I just want to know, get you to talk about yourself. Most is heavily involved with the BBL, the Sixers and Thunder, heavily involved with Queensland cricket. Cat was the coach of Pakistan at 19s, was there for the first Rajasthan Royals victory in 08. The list that goes on. We've had a lot to do with a lot of the Pakistan players of late, like Haris Ralph and Usman Khadir and a whole host of others. He's well known to them all. Adam Holyoke, you know Adam very well. This is part of our show. But most are not as good a player as I am, but that's another thing. I'm not going to compare our notes there.
I'm very much the poor relation to both of you guys as far as cricket ability, I'm afraid.
All right, well, thanks, Moses. It was nice for you to meet, Reg. That's a moment in time.
Thanks, Reg. Nice to meet you, mate.
Thank
Hopefully
you, fella. Thanks. Sorry to interrupt your show. I'm sorry to interrupt your show.
No, I'm happy. We egged you on. We had to get you on.
All right, Norman.
All right.
Thanks,
Moses. See you the next few days if you want. Okay.
Cheers, mate. Okay then. Bye.
There's just been a big, not a shout for a caught behind, but a big moment. Baldy's got one to cut back into the right-hander. Actually, it's gone past the outside edge. I think it's flicked the pocket. Keeper was interested. Bowler wasn't. No review or anything. This I like playing New Zealand. I've got to be honest, Norman. They're usually a good side, and it's always played in a good spirit.
Sure. And I guess the thing that we're waiting to see, even though England are on top at the moment, Bolt, Southey, they're going to be pretty hard to play too. I think they made a mistake in having Jamison. I would have had Wagner, but that's my thoughts.
I think he's not fit. They were talking about Bolt and Wagner both being rested. Maybe Wagner's coming back. Otherwise, I agree. I mean, Wagner's he just runs in all day, doesn't he?
Yeah,
he's an amazing bowler. I wonder if he bowls a little bit short for Lords. Generally, you need to get it a little bit fuller at Lords.
Sure.
But Broadie's all over Mitchell here. It's giving him a right working over.
So every time I see you, you're either in bloody Greece, Gran Canaria, this Canaria, that Canaria, everywhere.
I nearly came and I've just been in Corfu recently. I was over.
Oh, no, I saw that too. You're just rubbing it in. I mean, are you doing that for tax reasons or something? Is that where you're going to be out of the country?
Yeah, off to the Caribbean soon, Norman. So I might be able to send you some beach photos from there as well.
Where are you going? Exactly.
Dominican Republic.
Oh, well, that's not really. It's not a cricketing country, the Caribbean. That was.
It's not, but it's very much a holiday destination.
No, I know that. But Dominican Republic. So here's interesting. You've got Dominican Republic, but then you've got another island which is cricket mad. It's called Dominica.
Yeah, which isn't too far away.
It's pronounced very differently.
I think they call that the East Indies, don't they, rather than the West Indies? In the East Indies.
Dominica's a beautiful place, though.
I was going to tell you a little bit about Matthew Potts.
Please.
Who's going to come on to bowl. Imagine soon. Well, in the next 20 minutes, I would have thought. Yeah. He is a Durham boy. Plays at Durham. So if you're going to have a good start to the season and do it in front of the New England captain, that was the best place to do it. He's a young lad. He is the leading wicket taker in the country this year. He's taken 35 championship wickets. He bowls what they call a heavy ball, Norman. You'd know what I mean by that. He hits the splice of the bat is what they generally mean by that. He's
a seam bowler though, isn't he? Rather than a swing bowler.
No, he's a seam bowler. I think he can get it does a little bit in the air, but he's generally a seam bowler, and he's got a lot of his wickets bowled or LBW. So he puts it up there straight and nips it around just maybe a little bit both ways, just off the seam.
Was it a shock that he got selected though?
No, I don't think so. He's, as I say, taken 35 championship wickets. The amount of injuries that we've got to our bowling attack Wokes is injured, Stone's injured, Wood's injured, Archer's injured, Curran's injured. So they were getting a little bit depleted on who
Well,
to
well,
put
okay, would you have selected stuck in Mahmood in front of him? If he was
injured
fit?
out for the season.
But if he was fit, would he have gone in early for him? Do you think?
Yeah, I think if Mahmood had been fit, they would have. They like the continuity factor, and I think they thought he bowled pretty well in the West Indies
Yeah.
in trying conditions. And he's a bit quicker. I think Potts will be bowling at sort of 84 to 85, whereas Mahmood can get out towards 90. So they like a point of difference as far as pace if you can get someone bowling a bit quicker.
Right.
But he's out for the summer, Mahmood. He's
He's-
with him at all.
So, Chris, what's he doing today? Is he?
He's coaching. He's coaching.
Okay.
It's half term here in the UK, so he does a lot of coaching at the kids during the school holidays.
Okay.
So another thing on Potts is that he was a batter when he was younger. He got into the county age group stuff at Durham as a batsman, opening batsman. And his father is 6'8" tall, apparently. And they
Wow.
took a look at him and thought, do you know what? If this guy's going to start the growing spurt, he might be a very useful guy to turn into a bowler. And that's what they did. They turned him into a bowler.
It's funny, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
very funny.
He'll be batting at 8 for England here, but I think they think probably he's more of a number 9-ish. But he certainly can hold a bat. He's not a complete mug. He's not like you, Norman. He can actually hold a bat. So
Cameron, let's get off the topic of my batting. Cameron Green, is certainly a revelation. You see this, wasn't it amazing? The Australian Pakistan series, which I had $1 million views on my. Did you see that? I had a couple of $1 million views.
it was a good series, wasn't it? Lovely to see cricket back in Pakistan.
I was so dirty, and I mean, my mother's 90. She's gone from hospital today to a nursing home, by the way, which is a treacherous day. Wasn't much fun. She's so anti the place. She went in there kicking and screaming. She hated it. She absolutely hates it. She says that they're stealing things from a bag. It's just ridiculous stuff. Anyway, so look, I would love to have been there for the Pakistan series, but I am going to start to travel before too long again, and I'll be running around. I'll be definitely there next year for the Ashes, 150%. I'll be there in luxury. Aparna and I will be on Saturday. We're going to have some fun. We're going to the most expensive hotel in Sydney.
Is this for a romantic liaison?
No. It's just because Vivid. Well, I'm not going to say more. Vivid. The actual, Vivid is. It's a show where all the buildings in Sydney are light up in colour. It's just incredible. It's a spectacular, and the view from up there. We're in the Crown at Barangaroo. It's about like 50 or 60 stories high. It's built like a cigar, and it's an amazing view. It's just the rooms are $1,800 a night, Australian dollars. What's that in pounds? About £700, £800,
yeah,
or more.
It's about
more like about £900 actually. Ridiculous.
So Maddie Potts is coming on to bowl now into the
big moment.
Yeah, his first class career, 77 wickets at just under 27. So not too bad. But as you know, it doesn't always equate how you do in your county career to get on in tests.
Have a look at this question. Namit Rostogi, which is a new person. I haven't heard that person's name before. Hi, Norman and well, he's calling you Vernon. Do you think England should have tried new options in batting instead of giving Ollie Pope and Bairstow? Now, Bairstow, I'm going to say definitely was the right decision. Ollie Pope at 3. What's your take on that?
Apparently, when Ben Stokes was given the job and he sat down at the first meeting he had, he said that the one thing he insists on is that Ollie Pope is back in the side. He said that on 2 different interviews I've heard him do this week, and he said that I don't care how we do it, this guy's got to be playing. You've got to remember that Ollie Pope is the best young batsman we've got in this country by miles. He's although he had a difficult winter, as we know, he came back and he started this summer averaging 70. He averaged 70 this season for Surrey in the county championship, and he's been his overall career average in county championship is about 80. He is an extremely talented cricketer. They think that he's worked on a little bit on his technique. because he got found out in Australia. These are good players. Pat Cummins is a good bowler. He's one of the best ever. He's up there. So, and it can get to you, especially when you're away from home touring. So he's worked on a little bit on his technique, and they want him in the side. They see him as going to be a very good long-term player. He's only a kid still. He's only 24, I think. So he's got years in front of him. So I can see what they've got him in. Bairstow was a no-brainer. He scored 2 Test hundreds in his last 4 tests.
Yeah, Bairstow's not a question. I'm just watching Potts come in the bowl. He bowls very front on, doesn't he? Very, very front on.
But he's straight, Norman. Making the batsman play it. He's absolutely bowling a lovely line here.
Yeah, he is. No, there's no doubt about that. He's got ability. He looks very, very thick set for a tall guy as well.
Yeah, well, as I say, his dad was 6'8", and he
looks like a rugby player. In fact, he's very strong looking.
Yeah, it's just something that, again, I heard Stokes interviewed, hits the seam. If you look at the replay of the ball that he's just bowled on, when you get it on your feed in a few seconds, they show it from the keeper's point of view, and he hits the seam.
But is he young?
Yeah, he's a kid. He's 22, 23, something like that, maybe 24.
Right, okay.
So he's young. And he's got the edge, he's got a wicket. That's first over. Fantastic for a young lad. And it's the same ball as he's just bowled the ball before. He's bowled 3 in a row. They're right on the money, Norman. It's what he does. So I was going to say, Stokes said on interview that he runs in all day. He's strong, and he just runs in. He never drops his pace. You know what bowlers are like? Oh, Norman, that's a great delivery, that. He's right on what Boycott used to call the corridor of uncertainty. He's pitched that just on off stump, and it's just seemed a touch away. And as you know, you don't have to seam it a lot away.
No.
You just got to seam it a little bit.
Well, that's a natural variation as well, don't you?
Well, the good news now is that you're going to be made to look a complete idiot because de Grandhomme is not going to score 124.
How do you know?
Because you predicted it for a start, so that's a good start. But you're going to be wrong.
Samantha Shastri wants to know the score as well. It's now 4 for 12. Jesus.
No, it's not. It's 12 for 4, Norman.
No, it's 4 for 12. 4 wickets down for 12 runs, not 12 runs for 4 wickets.
12 runs for 4 wickets. It's
no. Ben,
how
many you've taken 4 wickets and the score is 12. Not the score is 12.
Who invented this game? We did. You Australians come late to the party.
When you come down here, you say what you like. You're only saying what I say when you come here.
So when we do a joint show next summer, when me and you are in together, sat next to each other like little and large, we're gonna do it my way.
We're gonna be at each other, and I want to get. This might sound funny, very funny. I'm not normally a big drinker, but I feel like I need to get pissed with you. I don't know why that is.
I can't. Norman, you drink me under the table. You've got much more capacity, I would say.
I don't get drunk easily, I'll tell you. I don't get drunk easily. I'm not a big drinker, but I don't get drunk easily. All right. So Samantha Shastri is 12 for 4, 4 for 12, whatever way you want to look at it.
Yeah.
And what a great thing. I love when a new bowler comes in the Test cricket and gets a wicket in his first. I love that.
And he gets one of the greatest players in the world out, Norman, by the way. Kane Williams was not a bad start.
It was a damn good catch. It was not an easy catch. These are not been easy catches.
Folks is a nice player. That's a good nut too, first start, just a little bit wider. So
I still reckon de Grandhomme is going to get 124. Let's see how close he goes.
Yeah. Another thing that you note, by the way, here, the score's 4 for 12. I'll give you that. 4 for 12. But it's 10 overs. Now, you know and I know that the pressure that they're under has also led probably to a couple of wickets. We're bowling well. But if that was 32 on the board after 10 overs, you probably wouldn't be 4 down. Because the batsmen have hit the ball in the middle of the bat a few times.
They've played very tentative shots, though. They've played very tentatively. If they played a full-blooded driver on those deliveries, the ball would have flown over the slip cord. They haven't done that.
Well, in the warm-up game last week, they played a county select 11, and I think I'm right in saying they were 19 for 6 in the second innings at one stage. Their batsmen didn't have a good warm-up match particularly. They got beaten in that game, New Zealand as well.
Wow.
So,
it was actually a scrambled thing. Great catch. That was a fantastic catch. That was
It's
not an
never
easy.
easy to take it going forward, going right. As you know, Norman, as a
No, but
keeper, you used to keep a
I
bit of
was a
wicket.
keeper of note in my day.
Yeah.
Now, cricket, there's a person who's calling himself Cricket. We're getting used to having him on there. Somebody called Cricket. I think New Zealand will break India's 36 record. Oh, boy. That'll be embarrassing. But
I can't read
hang
that.
on.
You have to tell me it says, I think Norman will, New Zealand
New
will.
Zealand will break India's 36 record.
No, don't see that, but maybe. Well,
But you know what? You don't want New Zealand to do that because what happened when India got 36? They won the series.
yes.
So you actually don't want that. You don't want that.
Yeah, I mean, this will flatten out this wicket. Don't get me wrong. It's not. It's just a little bit of swing and a touch of seam. It's not going all over the place here.
No, but it's good bowling too. It's
It's
good
good
bowling.
bowling. Yeah, I mean, as I say, we've got Anderson and Broad with their absolute tails up, something to prove, and a young lad who's coming into the game, making his way, and it's going to be good. I think he's going to be a good player. This boy Potts. We'll see. Long way to go.
But
Anderson's
it's
still
the
bowling.
Ben Stokes enthusiasm. You can see it in there. You can imagine he would have revved them up. Root was not a rev up type captain, was he? He was sort of a fairly subdued player.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
I think Roots came given the captaincy again. There wasn't any options at the time, was there? He was the only option. He'd never captained.
Look at that! Every
county.
single batter's got single figures. Wow, Jesus!
Yeah, it's like watching your season's totals, Norman. No,
Well,
no,
11,235 you read down. But look, I know this sounds strange to say at such an early stage, but this doesn't mean too much, even if New Zealand are scheduled for a low score, because New Zealand are going to come back fighting. We know that, especially in the future Test matches. And it's Mark. What is Mark Taylor commenting?
Yeah,
is he the new Richie Bennell or something?
He's a good commentator, though, Norman. Mark Taylor.
But Mark Taylor, you know why he's there? Because Channel 9 haven't got the cricket anymore, and he's got nowhere to be.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Foxtel and Channel 7 have the cricket now, and Mark Taylor wasn't asked by anyone, so he's basically a free. You think he's a good commentator?
Well, you've done more than me.
To be very honest with you, if I'm going to be really honest with you, you're going to find this hard to believe. He seems like quite a nice bloke. He's actually
can't be that nice.
No, he's actually a bit of a DH, I'm afraid. He surprisingly.
Oh God, no! Sorry.
Another wicket?
No, not at all. I think it landed short, but it was an absolute beauty. I'm sorry, I'm ahead of you, Norma.
That's right.
To anyone,
Anderson's figures. I've had a number of experiences with Mark Taylor, and I haven't been very impressed with him. I thought he was particularly rude on a number of occasions, unnecessarily, and he was not a very approachable person, surprisingly, because he doesn't seem that way. In fact, Mark Waugh and Mark Taylor got, unfortunately, not a great deal of time for. A lot of time for Ian Chappell, a lot of time for a lot of other people. Steve Waugh, amazing person, tremendously nice person. You know, it was close.
Ask you about someone, Norman. I know he's not an Aussie, but my favourite commentator as an overseas to come over to the UK and commentate is Jeremy Coney. I find him extremely funny. He's very insightful, but he does it with amazing humour. He's very good, and I didn't know if you've met him or not.
Yeah, I have. He's a tremendous guy. Look, most New Zealand players are extremely approachable.
Yeah,
they're super nice. They've got the best person. They're like a Canadian. That's the way I describe them. Like an Aussie's more like an American, and a Canadian is probably what the New Zealanders can be. Very easy to get along with. Brendan McCullum, amazingly nice bloke. Really nice bloke. They've got Ross Taylor, another incredibly nice bloke. Even some of their rugby union players who are rough as hell are the nicest, most polite guys you've ever met. Really, West Indian cricketers, New Zealand cricketers are two of my favourite countries in terms of pleasantries. Sri Lanka's not too far away as well. England's pretty good. Australia, oh my God. Oh my God.
But interesting, I don't know if you touched on McCullum's appointment much in the pod.
Yeah.
In the live show. Rob Key approached McCullum about the job. McCullum didn't apply for it, as such. Obviously, he would have had to have applied in the end, but apparently Rob Key rang him up and asked him if he was interested, which is
Do
very
you want
interesting.
to, I'd love to tell you something about Mosen that was just on our show. Watch this space. He's about to become a part of a major international team as well.
That's fantastic.
But he's just got, no, I'll be not saying more. We'll leave it at that. But he's just come back from something that's basically sealed the deal. Yeah, look, Rob Key, what a great appointment.
A
Ben
brave appointment, I think, to take someone
Rob
out.
Key, McCullum, Ben Stokes, tremendous appointments right throughout. Brilliant appointments.
And
Very
Matthew Mott, I think, is a good appointment for the one day as well.
Yeah, look, I shouldn't be sexist in my comments here. Okay, the women's team have done exceptionally well, not denying that. He had a bit to do with England already, but I'm not necessarily convinced. Maybe his techniques is pretty good, or his structure.
But he's got a relationship with McCullum. He's worked with McCullum.
Yeah.
And he's worked with Owen Morgan before.
Yeah.
So that's a very clever synergy that they've got there. So they've got all three of them all know each other. They've all worked together. So I don't know. Maybe they're looking for a nice harmonious relationship where people can work together.
Baram Arani reckons he's been selected as the synchronised swimming coach for his team, or I don't know whether his team has got much of a swimming scene there, or a synchronised swimming. Baram, you are drinking, I'm pretty sure. You're carrying like a pork chop. Okay. Now, I brought you may have seen, I brought a bunch of my Aussie mates together who I play cricket with. They're a lot of fun. When we haven't really revved up yet, but we will. We have a lot of fun together. There's some characters there, I tell you.
Have you played much this season, Norman, or last season? Have you many games?
Did I play?
Yeah.
Played a few at Barrel, actually. Down at Barrel.
Bradman's home ground.
Yeah, I played a few down there. I didn't have too many. It wasn't too many. I went to a Pakistani function, which was brilliant. You know, after the guy that was at Lords, there was a Eid Mubarak event at Lords. A friend of mine, Carmel Khan, saw that. Within 10 days, he organised the same thing at the SCG and brought everybody there. Unbelievable. It was just amazing. It was a highlight so far this season.
Yeah.
Look, 4 for 12. You couldn't get a better bloody start than this. But there's a buoyancy around Ben Stokes. Let's be honest. Something about him that's really sensational.
Yeah, he's that sort of man, isn't he? He's inspirational. Any young player coming into the side, you're going to be inspired by Ben Stokes. You just got to see his highlights reel, haven't you? They showed it this morning, to be fair, Sky. They put on a 5
Well, that 100 he scored with Leach on the other end, that was one of the most phenomenal efforts. Right up there with both of them, that was. There was both of them big time.
It was better than both of them. I'll tell you why. After his first 66 balls of that innings, he had 2 not out. Because it was a rear guard. If you remember, I don't know if you remember him and.
I watched the whole thing. Don't worry, I watched the whole thing.
Yeah, and they were just trying to see through the end of the day, basically on that last day 4 afternoon. So Stokes was 2 not out after 66 balls, and then he upped it, of course, as we know. Quite an innings that at Headingley 2019, I think. Ashes 2019.
There's something about Ben Stokes. Way back at the time that he played in Australia.
This boy's the real deal. Sorry, Norman. This boy is the real deal. He's absolutely bowled a jaffer here to Blundell, whatever his name is. Look, when you see this absolute beauty. Oh, you wait till you see it, Norman. Me and you wouldn't touched it either. That's for sure. He's hitting the seam. He's doing exactly what.
What a different side this is compared to what was in Australia. They were really down in the Australian tour. Oh, it was awful.
Yeah, well, do you know what? It's the hard place to go, and Australia are pretty decent. It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
And when you're away on tour and you're in these bubbles, it must be amazingly difficult once you start getting beat to turn it around.
Okay, Arun Singh, who's in Queensland these days, wants to know about Bondi Coogee. You're going to go to Coogee Pavilion or in Coogee Bay Hotel. Definitely there's a lot of Barzura, the coffee shop down there, Tropicana. Bondi, I'm not as big a fan, but there's places there too. But yeah, Coogie's the end spot. Ben Folkes, old-fashioned keeper, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he didn't keep that well in the West Indies earlier this year. Oh, that's another beauty. He's got him. No, they've appealed, but he's not. Bowler hasn't gone up. That you won't see that, Norman. That is an absolute. He's all over Daryl Mitchell. Yeah.
He's a big lump of a lad. This guy. He's got some pretty big bloody. I'm just a bit worried about his bowling action though, in terms of these front-on body. Although he's got the body to handle it, it can take toll on your shot after a while. You got to be careful.
Oh, he's bowled an absolute beauty there again. I've got to tell you, Norman, he is right on it here for a young lad coming in his first test.
He looks a bit like Tremlett.
Well, Tremlett was about 6'7". I don't think he's that. I don't think he's that tall. I not a 6'7". I think he's probably 6'2".
Tremlett's built like a Mallee bull, isn't he? He's got muscles coming out of muscles ears.
He's more. I suppose he's more built like Simon Jones. If you remember Simon Jones, he was a big strong lad, wasn't he?
Yeah. Michael Anastasia we call Babs because he's got a blue and black shirt he wears, who scored 240 not out at Callum Vale Oval in a remote location of Queensland, but he's done nothing else. He's commenting. Baram Running said, don't go to Bondi. It's all overhyped and horrible. But Baram, where are you? You in bloody Philippines or Indonesia? What are you talking about? Whereas, seriously, how long is England going to push with James and Stuart Broad? It's a fair question.
Yeah.
It's a fair question.
I could answer that. I can give you an answer that Rob Key came into the job and he said, I intend to put our best side on the park. He said, I don't care about any noise around it. I want the best 11 players who are currently available to play in the first test, and we're going to try and win that test with our best available side. And the best available side we have includes Broad and Anderson. And it's unarguable.
You're not really answering the question, though. You're not answering the question. You're just talking about this test match.
All right.
How long are they going to keep this?
I'm going to answer the question now. They will continue as long as they are in the best side. There you go.
That could be until they're 47, though.
If you are watching this test this morning, if the people are watching us, but also watching the cricket, you cannot argue that Anderson and Broad are brilliant. This first hour, they've been all over New Zealand.
And Potts has topped it off, though, as well.
Sorry? Potts has topped it off. Broad's figures are 4.2 overs, 1 for 8. Jimmy Anderson bowled 5 overs, 2 for 4. 2 wickets for 4 runs. You can't argue that they deserve to be in the side because they're greats and they're still greats. Now, how long they carry on for? Well, I can tell you now, Anderson won't carry on past next summer because he'll be 41 next summer during the Ashes. He turns 40 this summer. So if he intends to carry on, which I'll be surprised if he doesn't, because I just think he will.
I think he wants to play in the Ashes next year.
Because I think having just been stuffed this winter by the Aussies, he will want to. He's a proud man, proud Englishman. Of course he is. Everyone's proud of playing for their country, and I just think that he will want to go out having won the Ashes back. I think, of course, he will. I think Broad will do the same. I wouldn't be surprised. Broad's 4 years younger, by the way, 4 years younger. But I would have thought that they'll both target that. Try and win the Ashes here next summer and then go out. That would seem right to me. Or England will decide for him.
He's not playing until he's 50. I don't think that's
no. Or England will decide for him, Norman. I think.
But England and New Zealand are both out of the World Test Champion 23. That is a fair point. It really is Australia, Pakistan, and maybe South Africa that are going to come through.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much cricket there is to play yet. I don't know what. I mean, England.
23 is next year, so no, it's not going to happen. It'll be Australia.
England have got 3 tests against New Zealand here. We've got a test against India here as well, and 5 against South Africa. I think we've got.
How many against South Africa?
I think, is it 5 or 4?
No, can't be 5. No way.
Well, we usually play
8 test matches, 9 test matches in this summer. No, No
I've got
way.
to be honest, Norman. We normally play 5 in the end of the summer. It's a standard thing to play 5, but it might only be 4 this year. But it was unusual.
I'd be curious what's happening there. Actually, I don't know about that one.
South Africa are what they call the main tourists this summer here, and that the season will start in July and August. The Test series.
But isn't it a pity that have England played New Zealand in a 5-test match series ever?
Not that I'm aware of. This is 3.
Why not?
It's a 3. It's always New Zealand were always seen as a weak side, weren't they?
Well, not lately. You can't say that.
No, I agree. I agree that, and we've always had in the last 20 years, our series against New Zealand have been the best series we've had generally because they're very closely matched sides and they're a good opposition to play. But they come over for well, this is 3. Usually they have 2 tests. Last summer they came over, they had 2 tests.
But it just doesn't make any sense. After what they were in the World Test Championship final, were they not?
Yeah. Yes, but you got to understand
they won that.
The Future Tours program is booked 5 or 6 years in advance.
No, but that to me is also rubbish. Why can't they change it? They shouldn't be holding that. The reality is that they should have actually played more games, more tests against New Zealand because, quite frankly, they're strong enough to beat a lot of countries.
Well, we play them a lot. We do play them a lot. We just don't play them in bigger, longer series. We play them often because it's unusual for us to go down under and not do some stuff against New Zealand while we're there as well, isn't it? We usually play a little bit while we're down in Oz. So I know we're here last.
I love Lords. Don't you love? Is it your favourite ground in England, Lords?
I like the Oval. I'm a Surrey boy, and I don't know something special about the Oval for me.
I mean, the old one of the gasworks there. It's pretty. Yeah, it's impressive.
I haven't played at Lords like Chris has. I've played at the Oval though. Luckily.
Well, they could have played me at the Lords had they let us play there, but we played at some pithy ground out at Whoop Whoop. Jesus. When do we play? We played at.
They've got to have some standards, Norman. Come on.
Huh?
They've got to have some standards. Can't have any old top playing at Lords.
Well, but we've played at Lords before against you. What are you talking about? It's disgraceful.
You'd hardly get down steps, would you? You'd have, these days.
Oh, I don't know.
That little gate at the bottom's not wide enough to get you through it.
I beg your pardon. There's 2 gates. You're wrong.
You go out the bigger gate. You go out the one the tractor goes out of. Is that the one you're talking about?
Oh, that's still a gate at Lords? Was there a rule against that?
It's got 5 bars on it. That's the one you're talking about.
See, Darren Stevens has got about as much chance for playing for England as Tim David does. Who are these 3 gentlemen they're showing at the moment? Can you see them?
I'm not sure who that was. Old stars, I would imagine.
Yeah, I can see their faces, but I didn't recognise them.
Yeah. Well, Tim Davids comes from Singapore, doesn't he? And
yeah, but he's lived most of his life in Australia. What is this? He's just got been born in Singapore.
So is he gonna? I mean, will he get a gig maybe for the 2020 side? Who's he? Because he was playing out in the Netherlands, wasn't he?
Yeah,
you've got
something really.
In the Netherlands.
He must be on the nose. I think there's something he's in Cricket Australia. Nobody's talking about him within Australian circles. Everyone else is, but not within Australia.
But who would he play? Could he play for us? Is that?
Technically he could, yes, but he seems to be deemed to be not in the mainstream. I don't know why.
Because he had a good IPL, and he's come over here for the 2020 Blast. I think he's playing. Is he playing at Yorkshire? He's playing one of the sides. He's had a good go here too. He's got a 9-shot in 40 odd balls the other night.
Well, Chris Lynn's another one who never played Australia. Well, I think he may have played 1 day or T20 for Australia, but he never played Test cricket.
His time's gone now, Norman. He's in his mid-30s, isn't he?
He scored a massive century there only a couple of days ago.
Yeah, he did, yeah. Yeah, but I'm thinking he's 34, 35 now, isn't he, Chris Lynn? Have I got that really wrong?
You know, I'm a bit embarrassed because I was on a tour of Sri Lanka back in the early 2000s with him as a kid.
Right.
And I used to remember, and he was a kid on my tour. So it was Ben Cutting and Ben Dunk and Beric Barnes, who played for Australia. They were all my tour as little kids.
So did you teach him everything he knows? Is it down to you? Such a good back?
I idolized me. I was the leading person on the tour, of course.
What do you mean? You scored 10 runs? Did you know?
I stood in front of everybody else, right? That's my leading. That's my leading. Ben Dunk, Ben Cutting, Chris Lynn, Beric Barnes, who you don't know, but he played for Australian rugby, good cricketer. And then we played against Naroshan Dickweller, who was only 14. And his parents, I think I told you, his parents wanted me to bring him to Australia. I said, no, you'll play for Sri Lanka one day, pal. And he's nudging very close to being the leading wicketkeeper ever for Sri Lanka. He's third into specials behind Joe Warner and now and behind Sangatara, he's got second. I've got commentary going on. As you keep putting comments on Facebook Messenger, say to all these other guys, stop using Facebook Messenger.
I can't send messages on my mobile to when you're on. It won't let me do it for some reason.
Okay. So, good reason. Probably blocks you.
Yeah, probably. Have we got any questions, Norman? Before I go, I'm going to go.
Oh, we've got everybody's saying India also is in the race for. They are with Australia, Pakistan, and South Africa. You're right. Norman is Steven Seagal that trained MMA legends of cricket. Thank you, Buckle Data. I like that. I still don't. Yeah, county cricket does have over 40s galore, don't they?
County cricket has. Sorry, I can't read the question.
People dominating county cricket when they're over their late 40s.
No, rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
Over the decades, it's certainly not rubbish. What do you mean? Bert Ironmonger, or what was he? I'm not sure. Was he Australian?
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be a few. You could, I mean, but at the moment, Darren Stevens is still playing. I think he's 44, 45. Maybe, but there's not many that play into their 40s and dominate. I mean, I can't think of anyone who's dominating county cricket at that age. Darren Stevens is doing okay. This year he's not done anything for Kent, really. And there's
when did Viv stop playing county cricket?
He was definitely playing in the early 2000s, wasn't he, with Ian Botham? I think. I mean, Graham Gooch played Test cricket into his 40s, didn't he? He was still playing really well at 40, 41. I think he was scoring Test hundreds.
He's an underrated player, Graham Gooch. He was amazing, especially when he scored big. He scored really big. He was amazing.
His Test debut, he got a pair, got 2 zeros.
I remember that game.
Around about 1974, at a guess. And I think he was dropped after one Test, and he had to wait 4 or 5 years to get back. And then he scored 10,000 Test runs or something for England.
Amazing player. Ahmed Raza, it's the Pakistani question. How do you rate the current Pakistani Test team? Very highly. Babar Azam was tremendous. Great batting lineup.
Babar Azam is unarguably in the top 3 batsmen in the world over all 3 formats. In fact, over all 3 formats, he's probably the best in the world, I think, in all 3. He's lovely to watch, though, Norman, isn't he? I just love watching Babar bat.
That 196 he scored against Australia was majestic. That was just...
Yeah.
Okay, here's a good question. Adam Holyoake, our friend, went within a hair's whisker of becoming an England coach over the summer in Australia when so-and-so was it when what's his name? He was ill with COVID. What was his name again?
Chris Silverwood, was he in charge?
Yeah. Adam Holyoake was but you know what happened? Adam got COVID. In fact, I don't think Adam wasn't actually
because he wasn't coaching Queensland, Norman. Did you say?
Yeah, but he was, because Silverwood was unable to coach because he had COVID. Adam Holyoake was about to be flown from Queensland into Sydney to coach them during the Sydney Test. But you know why he couldn't? Because he wasn't vaccinated.
Well, he's an idiot, isn't he? Why didn't he vaccinate himself?
Adam's by no means an idiot. He He's a top bloke. But
no,
he missed his opportunity. He would have been able to coach England, which would have been a great honour. Even though it was only for one match, it would have been a great honour. You never know. He would have done well. He may have been kept on.
He would have brought a bit of humour and a bit of lightness to the dressing room as well, because he does everything with a smile.
He's a good coach. He's a very well-respected coach. He could bat and bowl. He knew how to win games. He played.
He does it the right way, Norman. He coaches the right way. Do you understand what I'm saying? He lets
people
the players who are playing at that level don't need to necessarily be coached as such. They just need
to
walk through and talk about. It's a lot of it's done in the head, isn't it? You know,
it's all about the mindset. It's all about the mindset. You're right,
and that's why Adam was
saying. Shane Warne said that he was the best example of someone who knew how to coach, stand back, and that's why Langer was such a disaster in the end. and that.
Well, it wasn't a big disaster. Won you the 2020 World Cup and the Ashes. It wasn't a complete.
Yeah, but it was because he was told to back off and let McDonald run the show.
You're talking nonsense, Norman.
No,
He's a fantastic
no
coach.
way. Langer was told to back off before the T20 World Cup.
You don't like him
McDonald-
because he's a Western Australian. That's
No,
why.
that's got nothing to do with it. He gave me. It was a cranky puss when I saw him one day at the SCG. No,
That's why you don't like him.
he looked. I'm there with my tripod doing my show, and he sees me across the road. He stops and he's tracked him in his dirty look. I thought, what is your problem? This is public property, pal. I can stand here. I wasn't happy with that at all.
You
But he
probably
was-
thought it was some down and out, some
But he
tramp
was
on
a cat.
the street, Norman.
But he was a cat on the hot tin roof. He was just nervous as hell, fidgety, aggressive. They hated it, not hated him, but they hated his style of coaching. And McDonald was the cool cucumber letting him go, and he is there because of that reason. He won the T20 World Cup, McDonald is, or at least not won it, but was the true coach and even the Test series. That is the truth. If you hear Langer talk now, he gets stuck in a cricket Australia. He's done a video recently, a live. He absolutely tore Australia apart, cricket Australia. So anyway, well,
Going
let's
back
go
to what we were talking about just a few minutes ago, I think England have got a real tough tour coming to Pakistan. This, I think that when you watched how Australia went, and I know Australia won the series in the end. I think they did. I think there was tough 5 days, tough cricket.
Oh,
I'm not sure.
absolutely amazing Test series.
Yeah, I
The
don't
best
think
Test
England
series
got
to
that.
watch.
Yeah,
I love it.
but a great
Big batting
advert
scores.
for 5-day Test cricket, Norman, because 3.5 days of all those tests were attritional, weren't they? It was attritional cricket. But all of
Beautiful.
a sudden,
Loved it.
but you got into day 5, and that's when all of the drama happened. I'm not sure England's going to be good enough for that.
Though. Shaheen Afridi, Harris Ralph, they've got some bloody talent there, I tell you.
Well, they're all over here playing cricket, aren't they? In England.
Yeah.
Shaheen is a fantastic bowler.
Oh,
Shan Masood is brilliant. Harris Ralph's great. They've got some real quality. I think Rizwan's over here as well. I think he's playing 2020 at Sussex.
yeah.
I think so.
Harris Ralph, you know the story. We told you about how we had 4 young, great guy, beautiful young, humble kid. He's going to do wonders. He's got raw pace. He could bowl 150 plus, big time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've been 2 hours, and you've been great to see you. Please come back. You and Chris, well, Simon will be here when he gets a chance, and obviously Dave Graven, he was there for the IPL a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Adam and Monty are floating around. They keep messaging me. We'll wait and see. We'll get them all back. And we had some fun last year. We had a great time last year. All right. Thank you very much. I'll let you go and watch the game.
Thanks for having me on, Norman. As always, it's a pleasure to be on your show with you and all your fantastic guests. I feel honoured to be invited on. I really do.
Well, you're now a part of us. You're a part of us.
but not a great cricketer part of it. I'm just
no, you add value big time. So don't you worry.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Speak to you all soon.
All right. Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks.
Richard's fantastic. Great to have him on. Tremendous, guys. Tremendous. We've got 2 hours and 2 minutes, actually. 2 hours and 3 minutes. We've got Ahmed Raza arming. I'm just eagerly waiting for Pakistan versus England test. That's going to be huge, Ahmed. Huge series. And Pakistan attackers and T20 cricket's good, but it's their test cricket. They're like Ashes 23 will be interesting. Certainly will be England, Australia. England really, they're a superlative group of players, and we want them to do well because it's worth watching. Same with Pakistan, same with New Zealand, same with Australia. Really, some Rohan Kohli. Australia versus Pakistan series. So, look, I think Australia really did have a tough time against Pakistan. Let's be honest, that was an amazing series. It really was. All right, it's 9:25 in Australia. I'm really keen to talk more. I can talk forever here. England have got New Zealand now a run rate of 1.3, which is a disgrace. Mitchell's on 9 and Blundell's on 4. They're currently 4 for 21 after 16 overs. What a first session. Anderson 2, Broad 1, and then Potts has got himself a wicket in his first over as well. Does Potts look better than Ollie Robinson, Buck or Dogs? I don't know about that. Both pretty good. So what time we got? The game started today, so we're already almost into the last half an hour of the first session. important session, you would argue, for New Zealand. They don't lose any wickets, they can resurrect something. Mind you, because New Zealand could also lose a couple of wickets in this period. Yeah, Potts looks good. Got a Guernsey. They only used 3 bowlers. Leach went off injured with his shoulder, so we won't see him bowl in any hurry. They've also got, of course, Ben Stokes. Captain, where was bowling there? Ben Stokes hasn't bowled yet. He's a great foil to have coming on at a later stage. Ahmed Raza saying Shaheen versus Root, Bubba versus Anderson would be a treat to watch in Karachi, Lahore, Rawalpindi. Bloody oath it would be. I love it. Who was the best spinner in England, Leach or Parker? Parker as well. Rashid, Adil Rashid is better, and Moeen Ali's up there too, and they're both back into the fray, so they could well be better ones to play. Leach has got a pretty good record though. Don Bestwell has gone off the ball a bit. Blundell's going well forward here. If he doesn't watch, he's going to get bowled by either Broad or Anderson, that's for sure. All right, I've got 2 hours and 5 minutes here. We'll go through to the end of the first session, I think. Early predictions about this England-New Zealand match. Well, New Zealand are going to have to get their act together pretty damn quickly. But look, if they stay 4 for 21 or 4 wickets down at lunch, and you got the ground home of these two in now, you might scrape 150, 200. It could well make a game of it, but yeah, you'd think England are in the ascendancy here at Lords, but they don't normally have much success at Lords, so that's the interesting thing. But England do look like they're in the box seat here. New Zealand can still fight. Don't you worry about that. Don't you worry about that at all. Certainly have a fighting spirit there in this team. So I've got some 32 minutes before lunch is over. I'm very much hungry myself, guys. I'm getting a bit peckish. See what I can do regarding that. Joe Root, still in the fray, batting sensation as we know, is getting very close to 10,000 test runs. Brandon McCullum looks like he's playing for New Zealand, for God's sake, not coaching England. Brandon McCullum on a Lord's balcony, I think he's playing against England, not coaching them. Blundell's seems to be negating this bowling. So my only prediction is England's going to win this match well. They may well win this match. But New Zealand can well win one of the others. Which for New Zealand, they've only ever won one test at Lords in 1999. There you go. Well, it's not going to happen this time. I'll tell you, it doesn't look like it's likely, Richard. With Ben Stokes looking very, very supremely confident. But Blundell, Mitchell are putting up some sort of rearguard action, although it's still only 4 for 21. Far from a good score. Rohan Kohli, Stark, Cummins. I don't know what that comment is. I'm not going to read that one out. Oh, is that double figures? No, Mitchell's on 9. No, Mitchell's on straight now. He's on 9. So, yeah, so we might actually. Shall we go another 20 minutes, guys? Are we in the mood to go another 20 minutes? I'm not sure. Blundell can bat. We know he can bat. Mitchell can put up some rearguard action. Then, of course, you've got Colin de Grant, who I've predicted will get 124 runs, which Richard Verdon was quite against. I'd argue that 124 runs is very plausible. Colin de Grant come home with a wet sail. No, Mitchell's letting the ball go very nicely. The pitch is settling down. There's no doubt the first hour or so it was playing up. Now it's settling down. So Rowan Kohli, okay, you guys are commenting in another language here, both Hindi and Urdu, and I'm not going to make comment because we don't want to have a spray here, do we? All right, we might stop there because if this is the way it's going to go, we're going to have to stop the commentary there. So New Zealand 4 for 22 without still got some time to play. Ben Stokes is talking to Root. That's interesting. Root adding a bit of his value as a former captain. Yeah, it's not a bad little thing to have in the background. Someone who is definitely aware of what captaincy is all about for England. He's done a lot himself. But there's Ben Stokes in the bowling. Ben Stokes giving the ball back to Potts. Ben Stokes is keeping himself out of the attack after some Saturday nights. Hasn't been needed. Next Australian Test matches, cricketers against Sri Lanka. 2 tests at Galle coming up later this month. Potts is certainly keeping a good angle there. All right, guys, we've gone 2 hours and 9 minutes. I think that's enough. if you can wait for me to go to the toilet, I can come back. But I think I might have to go to the toilet here, guys. There's Leach's injury. It could be a bit of a blow for them, but if they've got such a good lead, that's going to be okay. But now he's not. Leach withdrawn from Test due to concussion. Well, that's interesting. So that means if Leach is out with concussion, then they can replace him with a like-for-like player. So we might see a spinner come into the side. That's interesting. Leach is replaced due to concussion. That's interesting. So who comes on and replaces Richard Vernon? You've just made that comment. Who's the replacement? Is it going to be they're going to put an extra batsman on it? They have to go like-for-like, don't they? They have to bring a spinner in. And it might be who will come in his place? That's the question. So early in the match too. At least wouldn't be happy with that at all. So 4 for 22 after some into the 18th over here. 4 for 23 actually into the 18th over. So if Leach is replaced for concussion, who's going to replace him? Richard Vernon. You've messaged me on Facebook. Who's your logical? Parkinson's obvious choice. Okay, he's the leggy. Is he not? Parkinson's the leggy, or is he the only person in the squad? Is that Richard? Does that make him a debutant? No, that's a good shot there from Mitchell. He's now played a nice shot there, and he's got the third. What looks like the first 4 of the innings. Well played. Picked it up nicely off his hip. There it is. First 4 of the innings. First man in double figures. 4 for 27 to the 36. But India got now less likely. Well played. All right, he's picked it up nicely. Little flick. Potts weren't like that. He hit for 4. His fingers are blown into 1 for 6. Oh, he's just been bowled. So that didn't make much difference at all. There he is, the 5 for 27. Oh, there he is. Good comeback from Potts. Yes, he's out. Cricket says he's out. He's out, all right. Mitchell's out. Now Colin de Grandhome comes in. Will he get his century? As I'm predicting, 124. Short ball, they didn't really get up that high, but it's maybe. Chop it on. Like England, Aussie with his all team favourites. Okay, there you go, Buckles. Good stuff. So there's Potts taking his second wicket. Darren Mitchell getting in double figures, 5 for 27. This is awful. We could see England at bat before lunch, could we? No, I don't think so. Colin de Grandhome would not have expected to be walking down to bat before lunch. Certainly wouldn't have expected that. But that's exactly what's happened. And the 18th over here. Here is Colin de Grandhome. 124 not out. He'll be into the innings. Let's see how close I am, Richard, and the like. With some 25 minutes ago. Norman, who is the best cricket team in the world right now in all formats? You'd have to still say India, I think. You'd think so. You'd have to say India. New Zealand left under 100. Well, they're 5 for 27. They're well on their way to doing exactly that. They're going to get 9 more runs to make sure they get all out for 36. Colin de Grandhome has played 29 test matches, scored 1,390 runs, averaging 38.61, which is pretty healthy. 850s, 200s, and the best of 120 out. No slouch with the bat at all. Takes wickets as well, as we know. So he's certainly more than capable. Potts 2 wickets. Wow, this is pretty impressive. Then Grandhome's played it nicely onto the offside. I might get some biscuits. There's nothing here. Pretty ordinary shot. Never really a chance of that happening, but he's done it. Yeah, so India, I still think is the best in all formats. So after 18 overs, they're 5 for 7, 5 for 27. This is awful for New Zealand. Not what they would have expected to be. Conway's still there, isn't he? I think Conway's at one end. Matthew Botch 2 for 6 after 5 overs. Pretty good figures to start your Test career with. You won't be complaining about that. Still going home at Blundell. So Conway's already out too. I didn't forget about that. Well, these are really the last two recognised batsmen. And then you've got Jamieson, Bolt, Southey, and Ejes. Those four. Re-asking my question, but who are all all-time favourite players by each country? That's a big question. We haven't got time to talk about that. It's too much of a question. My favourite player each country. Well, I mean, the obvious ones are Babar Azam, Pakistan, Root, England. I mean, Bairstow and Stokes, England. Australia, well, there's a whole bevy of people I mentioned there. Probably Warner, I would still think is my favourite. Oh, then you have New Zealand, you've got a few. The Williamson, of course. West Indies, probably Holder still. And you got South Africa. Well, Quinton de Kock's not around that much anymore. And yeah, that's probably mine. So for here's Sri Lanka, Angelo Matthews still, Vinash and Dickweller, Bangladesh. The two lads who scored 5,000 Test runs almost. Yeah, there's a few there. Is that happy, Marco? Oh. Blundell's getting away with a few here. 5 for 31. It's a good shot there from Blundell. It's nicely played. Well, that's the most successful cricket team, but that's not necessarily answer the question, is it? Okay, we've got 20 minutes before lunch. That was probably the best shot of the day so far. It was a nice on drive there from. Things are certainly settling down there. Blundell could bat though. He can still bat. Still get a few runs. Resurrect a total of up to 150, 200. They've made a good recovery. But at the moment, they're far from that 5 for 35. Run rate of 1.89, which is awful, let's be honest. Mel Jones is commentating. What the hell's Mel Jones there? Australia versus New Zealand got Mel Jones. No. Not Taylor. You miss Richie Benner. You miss Shane Warne. What about Dinesh Karthik come back? You're talking about IPL or the Indian side? Yeah, that's pretty special. There's Aussie favourites for the T20 World Cup. Buckled at Whitwell. Or India, England, or something else. The T20 World Cup, you'd have to say Australia because it's their home. India would go close. England, well, we'll wait and see. Oh. All right, guys. I might leave it at that, guys. It's been wonderful being with you. We've had guests of Richard Vernon and Mosen Sheikh. Scores 5 for 36. England well on top. Ball going right over the middle stump there, almost all off stump at least. De Grunholm is there with Blundell. Those two last rearguard action. We are now gone into this session quite a bit. So thank you very much for your time tonight, guys. We'll see you for the preview of day 2 and the match between England and New Zealand played at Lord's. It's been wonderful so far. It'll be wonderful tomorrow as well. Australia versus Pakistan in cricket, like the king of cricket and the kids. Well, I'm not close to that. Don, 007, you made me stay long. Thanks for streaming the guests that were on the show. Thank you too, guys. We will see each other soon. Don 007, I've been on for 2 hours and 20 minutes. Where have you been? Buckledale Australia will win it easily. Well, it thinks so, Rowan Collier. I kind of agree, but you never know until the fat lady sings, as they say. All right, 5 for 36 is the score. See you guys tomorrow. All right, we will say goodbye.